Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. And we're joined today, of course, by Kimberly Ann Curran. Kimberly, how you doing?
Good morning. Happy Friday to all.
And sitting right beside her is the always Good Friday, Mr. Good Friday himself. No, that's the wrong camera. There we go. Ray Ora's here. Ray, how you doing?
Boo. I don't know what else to say.
And sitting right across from him is Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic today, John. Great to finish up my first week of the first new year on this new iteration of the John Campea Show.
Well, it's good to have you here, sir. And, of course, I'm here too, and you're here. And we are so glad that you guys are here and joining us here today. Here's how today's show is going to go, guys. We're going to break it up into two parts, as always. The first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, if you'd like to get in a live comment or question, if you're watching the show live, and only if you're watching while this show is being streamed live, go ahead and use the super chat feature in the YouTube chat, and we'll read that off once we get to the end of the main topics. However, if you're watching the show in any of the other 22 hours during the day when we're not live, you want to get in a comment or question, simply go down into the description of this video. You'll see a tip link. Click on that there, or enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your comment or question on the show if we deem it appropriate to be used on our show. And more importantly, you'll be supporting our channel at the same time. And all of us involved at the John Campea Show, thank you guys very, very much for your support. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into a couple of off the tops here, shall we? And the first one is a really unfortunate one, and that is this. You know, there's a silly saying that goes around that it seems like really famous deaths happen in threes, and we've had a couple the last number of days, and today is the one that might have hit me the hardest. Actor Sidney Poitier, we have just found out this morning, has passed away at the age of 94. This wasn't only one of the greatest actors of all time. Appearing in some of the most vital and important movies in history, Heat of the Night, and my personal favorite of his, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which is like one of the most pivotal, I think, films in history. You know, it reminded me a lot of Star Trek, the original series, in some ways, that like it broke so much ground so far ahead of its time. Like, it's hard for us to think about today when you go back and look at that movie, to take ourselves, and what year did it come out? 66, 67?
Yeah.
Try to teleport yourself back to that era and have a movie like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner come out. I mean, which is absolutely remarkable. He, of course, then was given an honorary Academy Award, I believe at the same time that Denzel Washington and Halle Berry got their Academy Awards too. And just simply one of the most powerful presences there's ever been in cinematic history, and he passes away at the age of 94. Rob, I mean, you and I have talked about Sidney Poitier a lot in the past. You hearing about his passing, number one, but number two, when you reflect on his career, what are the things that you think about most?
Well, I mean, he was the first black man to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for Lilies of the Field. And, you know, I was just telling Kimberly, one of my favorite stories about Sidney Poitier is Jamie Foxx's story about how when he was nominated for an Academy Award for playing Ray Charles in Ray, there was an intervention. And because Jamie Foxx was partying too much, having too much fun, and Sidney Poitier basically came in and straightened him out. And and it's a great story. You can look it up on YouTube. And I think, you know, the thing about Sidney Poitier is every time you saw him, there was a sense of grace about him. Whenever he spoke in any of his performances, even when he did an action movie like Shoot to Kill, he brought a gravitas, and there was always something larger than life about him, but not in an overbearing way, more in a, like, you go up the mountain to see Sidney Poitier. If you're going to act with him, you better be centered. You better know who you are, because he had a presence like none other. And what a career he had. He broke boundaries. He was a philanthropist. He worked for many different causes. He was a wonderful man. And one of the true giants has left us.
I mean, and that's the thing. He's one of the true giants. I mean, when you go down through, you talk to a lot of actors. I've seen a lot of actors talked about their great influences, and Sidney Poitier's, his name is just one that comes up an awful lot. Kimberly, you heard about his passing this morning. You look back and reflect on the life and career of Sidney Poitier. What comes to your mind?
You know, what comes to my mind is not only his work as an actor, but also a director. You know, he directed Stir Crazy with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. And something I don't know if my mom will agree, but my dad definitely introduced me to a lot of comedy through Richard Pryor. My mom's not too happy about that. That's where I definitely learned the F word. But Stir Crazy was one of those movies that, you know, you watch with your dad or your uncles, and he's like, let me show you some comedy. But also, a child of the 80s, one of my favorite films that me and my sisters used to watch was Ghost Dad. We used to watch Ghost Dad we used to watch it, like we wore out that VHS, and he directed that as well. But also just in terms of the world, in order to evolve in terms of entertainment and as an actor, it's important to look back. That's where we get our giants from, is as we've evolved in the entertainment industry. And he's one of those actors that so many other actors have looked back on and not only said, oh, this guy's great, this is good. It's when you stand for something that's beyond your job title. You know, you stand for something. And I agree with you, John. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? A film about interracial relationships in the
time,
60s. I remember my mother telling me stories about how in the Black community that film really affected people, and was like, it wasn't just white community, it was Black and white communities that film impacted, and kind of nudged at, hey, let's all open our minds. And he was just such a regal man. He was just such
That's a good word for him.
His presence. He was just regal. And 94, a life well lived. And I think every actor will agree we're so blessed to have had him.
Rob, let me ask you this, because Guess Who's Coming to Dinner came out in 1967. I know Star Trek, the original series, I think started airing in 1966.
Yep. So the first year was the 66, 67 year.
William Shatner and Michelle
Nichols,
who played Uhura, they made history with the first interracial kiss on network television. What season did that happen?
Third season. It was in the episode
so Sidney, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner came first.
Yes, it did.
But still, a lot of history made in the 1 to 2 years.
Well,
span.
I think that you're right. I don't think they would have gotten away with it had something like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner been part of the culture.
Right.
You know, and then you could get away with those things. So
anyway, guys, once again, Sidney Poitier passes away at the age of 94, an iconic legend. What are your guys' thoughts on that? When you think about his incredible career and the influence he's had, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Whatever that is, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's do one more off the top, and that is this. One of the most crazy surprise delights on television for me over the past probably 5 years has been the Amazon series The Boys. Like I remember that came out. I mean, I like the graphic novel. I didn't think it was like awesome, but I like the graphic novel. So the find out they're doing this thing about The Boys, and they're going to do this thing, oh, it's going to be gritty and rated R. It's like, okay, it's like that's being done a lot, but all right, fine, let's do it. It is brilliant storytelling wrapped in a delightful juvenile wrapper. Like that's what it is. It's like, oh, there's sex jokes and there's this and stuff. And so it's like, it kind of got this juvenile humor kind of wrapper on it, which I'm not going to lie, I adore. But then you get below it and it's like massive character studies of real issues of the human condition and all this kind of stuff. And again, we talked about it the other day, but man, that issue or that episode, I should say, of The Boys when Maeve and I almost said the Homelander are in the plane and they're they want to save the people. Man, we can't, we got to go. And like, that is one of the most soul shaking episodes of television I've ever seen. I remember watching that and going like, oh my God, like, wait, what's happening here? and like being so moved by it and whatever. And you just realize that, and then you just get Homelander. Homelander, who to me is one of the most compelling characters on television as an absolute asshole. But at the same time, the show finds moments every once in a while to make you feel a little bit of empathy for him, and just giving you little dashes of that makes him one of the most can't take your eyes off him characters in all of television. And of course, like all the characters, the boys are great, the seven are great. Like I love this show so much. So we've been waiting a lot for season 3. Well, the first little look of season 3 has just been released. It's a little 45-second spot. And it's just of Homelander and Starlight getting some press photos taken, and this deranged, maniacal, evil smile posing for the camera. I'm like, with that little music in the background, it's like, oh my God, I got to start watching this right now. Well, good news. We don't have to wait awful long, because apparently it's now coming out on June 3rd. June 3rd.
Oh my gosh.
Just a couple of months away. And of course, I'm really excited because Jensen Ackles is going to be making his premiere in this series as Soldier Boy, the original superhero. Obviously, it's a Captain America thing. I remember too when the first social media post they put out with Jensen Ackles in the show, they put it out on Instagram, Jensen Ackles in his Soldier Boy costume, and not making any bones about the fact this is just a Captain America ripoff. The subject on the or the caption on the picture was, "He's the captain now," which was
I like that.
which is perfect. So I am so excited about this. You got to see this clip, guys. It's amazing. The release date in June. I had honestly heard some whispers it may not come out till like December, and it was just some background whispers I had heard that they may release in December. I'm like, oh guys, come on, June 3rd, which I'm very stoked about. Kim, you hear about this? You saw that little clip that we were talking about. Like, what do you think about the clip, and what do you think about the show coming back?
I love his character, and it's like I shouldn't love him, I should hate him, but I just love his character. Anthony Starr, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but man, you're a sociopath, and I love it. I love it. But just like the acting in that, like you guys have to watch, but just like in his face, it reminded me of when your kid starts getting old enough to rebel against you. And at first they're like, "Hi, I love you, mommy." And then they have this look like, I want to choke you, mommy. And it's just like, it's a hard show for me to watch because I don't like the gore. So I spend a lot of the time watching the boys like this. But I love this show, and I can't wait. I cannot wait to see Soldier Boy go head to head with Homelander.
Well, see, and I don't know if they are going to.
I mean, I don't know, but in my mind, they are.
I know. I mean, because I'm still unclear about, because I want to see Soldier Boy interact with Seven, because he's the original superhero from decades and decades ago. Are they going to pull the other Captain America trope where he gets frozen or something, and he comes back and has to confront the realities of what what Voight is now? And this anyway, Rob, so many possibilities here. You saw the clip, and the release date's coming up this summer. I mean, we got to remember, I thought it was at almost a year away.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, I think you said it, man. I love the boys. I think Anthony Starr is one of the great casting coups of all time. What I love about him is he's probably the most dangerous person in the universe until aliens show up. I mean, at any one point, there was that fantasy sequence in season 2 where he's speaking at like a rally, and he has the fantasy moment where he kills everyone that's there looking at him. Yeah. And for a moment, you're like, did he just do that? And then you realize, oh, it's his fantasy. He's one step away from just. I mean, I would assume they're going to turn him at one point into the big bad, where he goes full on psycho. I don't know, but they might. And I can't wait. I'm so there for it. I mean, I love the boys.
But he may not be a villain. Like, I mean, what I think would be even more interesting is if, like, Soldier Boy being the original superhero, if he were to come to today and be disgusted with what superheroes have become. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could go either way. I like
that. I like that, John. I like that.
I mean, I think that could be kind of cool.
You disgust me.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. I'm just kind of really super excited that we're going to get one of the boys back from Supernatural. I mean, I'm just happy to see that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the release date and the first little clip we got from the upcoming The Boys Season 3? Did you like what you saw? Maybe you haven't even started watching the show yet. Whatever you guys are thinking about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here in the John Campea Show? Well, it's really simple. You see, you guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Kim, what is our first main topic today?
All right, guys, our first main topic is coming from Rain Man. Hi, John and crew. According to Deadline, Academy Award nominee Rooney Mara is set to star in an Audrey Hepburn biopic with Academy Award nominee Luca Guadagnino of Call Me By Your Name and the Suspiria remake fame. He's set to direct. The project is set up at Apple, which has been rolling up lately with a lot of high-profile projects. What do you think of this?
Yeah, thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, listen, one of the bigger mysteries to me in the world of film and entertainment the last decade plus has been, why isn't Rooney Mara a much bigger major star? Now, I think like a lot of people, where I first took notice of her was in the North American remake with Daniel Craig of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And I am in the minority. I understand this. I'm in the minority, but I prefer that version of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo over the original. I mean, I'm in the minority then, that's fine. But one of the big reasons for that was Rooney Mara. And it looked like for a while, Rooney Mara was going to be the kind of lesser known of the Maras. Because, of course, her sister is also a really great actress in Kate Mara, who I first took notice of in House of Cards. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, she was in Fantastic Four and a whole bunch of other things since. But the Mara sisters, very, very talented. Now, Rooney, she's in Nightmare Alley.
Yeah.
So she's got that going on right now. She's been producing some documentary stuff as well. She's been getting more and more active. And I love the idea of her coming into play one of the greatest of all time, Audrey Hepburn. I mean, that's incredible. And guys, this comes to us from the folks over at Deadline who write, Apple has landed another big feature project that being an Audrey Hepburn biopic, which Oscar-nominated filmmaker Luca, I should be able to pronounce this easy, Guadagnino will helm with two-time Oscar nominee Rooney Mara, set to play the Breakfast at Tiffany's legendary actress. Deadline has learned separately that Mara is also producing the feature project, which Michael Mitnick, the executive producer of the HBO series Vinyl, is writing. The movie reps Mara's third producing credit after the documentary The End of Medicine and The Truth About Emmanuel. And that, again, comes to us from the folks over at Deadline. Now, there's two different ways you can go when it comes if you're going to do a biopic about one of the greatest performers of all time. What way do you go in casting that biopic? Do you try to get one of the current most recognizable faces, or does that become a distraction? Or do you go with something a little more off the path? At this point, Rooney Mara represents a little bit more off the path, but I couldn't be more excited. I think she's absolutely terrific. I love this casting. Rob, you had a chance to hear about this. First of all, biopic about Audrey Hepburn.
Oh.
Second of all, being directed by the Call Me By Your Name director. And third of all, and kind of primary here is Rooney Mara playing it. How are you feeling about that?
I think it's a great project. First of all, Rooney Mara is pretty perfect in terms of casting. I mean, the physical resemblance is certainly there. She's a great actress. You know, I was blown away. We were talking about Social Network yesterday. I think that opening scene in Social Network when she's bouncing back and forth.
The girlfriend, yeah.
She's fantastic. And there's a reason why David Fincher tapped her to play Elizabeth Salander in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And I think this is a great I mean, I love Audrey Hepburn. One of my favorite movies of the 60s is Charade that she's in with Cary Grant and you know, of course, Breakfast at Tiffany's. But she's an American icon. Actually, she's a British icon too. So she's everyone's icon. And I think this is going to be a great film.
And I just, again, I couldn't be happier. I love finally seeing Rooney Mara's name starting to get brought up more, starting to get more attention. I love it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. You've heard about this now. Rooney Mara is going to play Audrey Hepburn. How do you guys feel about that? I'm very excited for this picture. What do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's take a second here to thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, the good folks over at Stamps.com. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Stamps.com. Now, whether you are a small business owner, have a side hustle selling stuff online, maybe you just like to share things back and forth with your friends, good news, Stamps.com is going to help you out a lot. Because if you're anything like me, there are many times in my life that I didn't send something to a friend of mine or I didn't want to sell something online simply because I didn't want the hassle and expense of having to ship stuff out. And for those of us here at the John Campea Show, Stamps.com is going to be huge for us in 2022 because we've been doing more giveaways like shirts, pops and other things, and we plan on doing a lot of that, and that's just wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Stamps.com. And for people like us, Stamps.com is a godsend because it lets you print out official postage right from your computer so you can spend less time at the post office and more time running your business or sharing things with the people in your life. And Stamps.com doesn't just give you access to the U.S. Postal Service, it also works with UPS now right from your computer. And you can get discounts that you cannot get anywhere else, like up to 40% off the United States Postal Service rates and 76% off UPS. So right now, head on over to Stamps.com and go up to that microphone up in the corner, click on that and enter the promo code Campea, that's C-A-M-P-E-A. This will give you a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts required at all. And now, let's get back to the video. And once again, guys, if you go ahead and use Stamps.com, don't forget to use that special code Campea to get your special deal. All right, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Kim, what is our second main topic today?
Okay, this comes to us thanks to William R. Hey, John and crew. One movie I feel like that is flying under the radar is Scream. It's already within a week from its release. The social media review embargo just dropped, and it seems like a lot of critics and fans of this iconic slasher franchise has gotten a lot of positive responses. Seeing reviews that are praising the cast, story, the direction, the jump scares, Ghostface, and so on. What are your thoughts on the very positive first responses? Does this get you any more excited for the movie?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, William. And you're right. The new Scream it is flying under the radar, mostly because of 2 reasons. 1, nobody cares, and number 2, it's going to be shit. Okay, so that's why it's flying under the radar.
Lies and lies, but continue.
Nobody cares, and it's going to be crap. So nobody cares about Scream, whatever. Well, maybe that's not so true, because you're right. The first reactions for Scream have started coming out. I was invited to a screening of Scream the other day. I didn't care, so I did not go. Well, I don't go to 9 out of 10 of the screenings I get invited to anymore. But I certainly wasn't going to drive out to LA for Scream. I wasn't going to. Who cares? No one cares. Well, maybe I missed out, because right now the responses this movie are getting aren't just good. They're fantastic. Like, they're getting really, really great responses. Our good friends over at Joe Blow said the following. They said, "We loved Scream. It's a movie fans of the series will not be disappointed by. Funny, self-aware, very bloody, and timely. Both the returning cast and the new ones bring a real sense of fun, which honors the original, making a few intriguing upgrades." Heather Wixson, one of the great horror writers out there, writes, "As someone who has been in love with this franchise for a little over 25 years now, I totally and completely loved the Scream movie. Brutal kills, fun mystery, and both the legacy cast and newbies were great. Wes, would be proud. Megan Navarro writes, what a welcome return to Woodsboro Scream is. A razor sharp, bloody, the word bloody is being brought up a lot. Bloody introspection on the genre and Wes Craven's legacy. All the feels and one hell of a genre start to 2022. My horror heart is so full. This comes to us from Eric Davis over at Fandango, who writes, the new Scream is a blast and my favorite since the original. Well, that's not hard. Nor is that saying much. My favorite since the original. There's some sharp writing here, a nice balance of well-crafted scenes and amusing commentary on modern horror. It also pokes a lot of fun at itself too, while remaining bloody, a bloody whodunit, and a damn good time. I'm a fan. So look, I'm sitting here reading these, and I'm like, really? Maybe these are just the good ones they're reporting first. But no, the great ones, they keep on going. Simon Thompson wrote, Scream frickin' slays. It's a textbook example of how to revive and reinvigorate a franchise and to do it in killer style. Brutal genius. It has the razor sharp smarts of the finest entries in the series. I would never use razor sharp smarts about this series. Anyway, of the series with a third act that absolutely nails it. 2 thumbs way up. So we are getting like horror fans talking about how great it is. We're getting more mainline things talking about it, and they continue. The platitudes keep going on. John Negroni writes, Scream, the 2001 version, or 2021 version, is a fittingly loud, bloody, there's that word again, bloody good time at the movies. It takes a knife to the heart of the modern requel machine, elevator horror, and toxic online fandom. Seriously, no major film franchise is safe. This is Scream at its best since the first sequel easily. Again, not a hard thing. Look, and they go on. They go on. Everybody, I even talked to a couple people last night who saw the film, and they're like, you should have gone, man. You should have gone. This thing is awesome. I'm like, really? Like I said, I don't generally like the franchise, right? Like I thought the first one was okay. I like the first Scream. But like really, no, even though you haven't liked any of the rest, you would really like this movie. So I'm like, well, damn. I guess I got to go see this thing next week. I mean, listen, the person asked the question, does this make me more excited? Number one, it's going to be very difficult for me to get less excited for Scream. I don't know how I could get less excited for Scream the way as it stands. But to answer your question, yeah, this makes me actually, I'm not even just interested now. I'm actually excited to see it now.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. That just came out. Sorry. I should have kept that in my head.
I gotta say, I have bypassed the interest it stays, because again, there's a couple people who know my taste pretty well who God told me and said, no, John, you're gonna love this movie. I'm like, really? And one of the greatest pleasures as a film fan is sitting down for a movie that you're not expecting much out of and having a really good time.
You're right.
That is one of the great pleasures as a film fan. And so I gotta tell you know what? Yes, mark the day. I am excited to see Scream. I'm excited to see Scream. Rob, you're hearing all these, you saw a lot of the reactions coming out of it. Let me ask you this. Where were your expectations for this movie? And does this do anything to move your needle of excitement?
Well, I should say I'm a huge fan of the original Scream. I thought it worked both as a deconstruction of the genre, but also itself wound up being a pretty transgressive horror film on its own. And I thought that was a really interesting way to go. I mean, you find out, spoiler alert, there's 2 different serial killers. They're teenage boys. It's a precursor to the world of Columbine, or the post-Columbine world we lived in. I thought it was a great horror film. And why didn't release the uncut version on home video? Please put it out. Because I like seeing Drew Barrymore's innards flowing out, and they cut that out all the time. I have the Laserdisc, but I'd love it in 4K. But still, the series was fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, fine. But to hear that this film, people seem to love it. I'm still dubious nowadays because I'm hard on horror. It's a genre that I expect a lot from. But John, I've read a lot of online pundits, even ones you didn't mention, whose opinions I trust. They liked it too. And if it's that good, well, maybe I'll roll out for it. Maybe I'll have to see it opening day.
I got to ask Ray. Ray, have you ever, because you're not generally, you guys may not know this about Ray. Ray, you're not generally a big horror guy per se. Have you ever seen the original Scream?
Yeah.
You did?
I don't remember
Okay.
it, but like I said, if this is good, I'll check it out. It's just that, the Happy Death Day.
God, I
it.
love that movie
Like,
so
I really
much.
like that one. And then I don't know if Resident Evil is like considered horror, but I still like that franchise as a whole. Like, I'll watch any Resident Evil. I mean, do you consider? I'm going off topic. Would you consider it a horror or more like a?
No, I put it
Like
the
thriller?
the genre. There's not thriller. Shit. That's what it is. That's
Oh,
the-
wow.
No.
That's where
Okay, to answer your question, Resident Evil is horror. It's zombie horror. It's action
I was
horror.
looking for the not of approval from you, Robert, but I guess you're not on that train either.
Dude, I got the
Am I the
box
only
set of
one?
all the Resident
Okay,
Evil
good.
movies.
Thank you.
Come on now.
I can always look to you when I need help. I always look to you when I
I
need
gotta
help.
tell you
now.
though, I'm disappointed. I'm actually kind of a little bit disappointed that you've seen Scream, because I was expecting you to say no, and I already had this video we should do in our head of sitting down, Ray watching Scream for the first time.
I actually like the killer in Scream. Like, I actually have like an action figure of the killer, the Ghostface. It's like one of my favorite masks. I don't know why. So
Kim, what about you? You had a chance. Well, first of all, I got to say this too. I thought the trailers for this movie were abysmal. They weren't interesting at all. So I like hearing these reviews and me being excited. I don't know. What do you think? Have you been looking forward to this? And what do you think about the reviews?
I'm so excited to see Scream. Look, I don't seek out horror. There's a few horror films that I really like, but something about Scream that's really funny. I have to go to the right theater in the right neighborhood to see it, because I don't watch Scream movies silently.
Right?
I'm like, girl, please, right behind you. Right behind you. I have to sit there and I have to scream with other people. My mom and my sisters, we're not like horror aficionados, but we do love a good Scream movie because we are shouting constantly at the screen, and that is so much fun. Scream is one of those series for me that I don't sit still and go, ooh, oh my, oh, who is it? I'm like, I bet it's you. Look at you looking all sour and upset. I love yelling at the screen with Scream movies. I'm so excited that people are liking this. Honestly, I really love Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Nev Campbell. I'm excited to see them back like they always are. But I'm so excited that people are liking this. And I love Jack Quaid. I'm becoming such a huge Jack Quaid fan. Like, I really like him. In my head, I have a theory about who it is already, and I don't even really know the plot. But I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to yell at the screen.
All right. Well, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about these reactions? I got to tell you, I am shocked and I am surprised and I am excited to see this movie now.
Well, that's the best part.
We should
is
do
that,
it together.
Well, yeah, we should.
We should all go see it together.
I'm
Yes.
excited to see something that I wasn't excited about. You know, I mean, I think, isn't that what life's all about?
Yes.
To get
maybe
excited
this is where
about.
John changes, all his ways.
All his ways.
It's the beginning, but then he gave me that shit thing right now. So I said, oh, it's only temporary.
Only temporary
The
change.
Resident Evil movies, just like Monster Hunter, great B films. Come on.
But I was telling the chat, I'm very happy that you're actually on board with this now, because you weren't even gonna give it the time of day. So
I wasn't even, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't even, I had no plans to see it. I wasn't even gonna go watch. I wasn't gonna waste my time. But
You're wrong for that.
it sounds like
I
it's
didn't
great.
think there was a chance, but
We're gonna have
I
to all
guess.
go see it. Question is for you guys. What do you think about the reactions coming out for Scream? I still don't think it's going to do crap at the box office, but maybe that'll surprise me too. Whatever you guys are feeling about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into main topic number 3, shall we? Kim, what is our third main topic today?
All right, this is coming from Tony Amandilla. Good morning, John and team. A couple of weeks ago, a few toy images came out showing some of the new villains from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Characters like Sleepwalker, Rintra, and Despair. I never heard of any of these, so I was wondering if you and Rob could explain a bit about them and how they tie into the rest of the MCU. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, so here's what happened. A little bit ago, some posts came out, probably a week, 2 weeks ago, we started to get some trickles coming out online about what could be villains that we're going to have coming up in Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness. Now, these are all things that I believe are just going to be revealed in trailers at some point at any rate. But and as has become kind of a little bit of a tradition, it seems like toy lines have been revealing who and what these characters are. And so here's what happened. There's a toy company, I can't remember what it's called, Greatest or whatever is this toy line. And they're putting out this full package of all these characters from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Wrapped up within there are 3 characters in particular that probably the vast majority of moviegoers don't know, have never heard of, and have no idea what's going on. But those figures listed as coming out in Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness are as follows. The green Minotaur in the middle, Rintra. Here's a little story on Rintra. As much as I know about him, because I don't know much about Despair and I don't know much about Sleepwalker. I know a little bit about Sleepwalker, but not much. Rintra is actually a magical being, well, a character that has magical potential from another dimension. And he basically, at some point, he meets up with Doctor Strange in the comics. He helps him out a few times. He eventually goes back to him and asks to become Doctor Strange's apprentice. This is all in the comic books. So Rintra at one point was actually an apprentice of Doctor Strange and helped him out to beat a few bad guys here and there and stuff like that. So it looks like, and he looks like he's wearing good guy clothes. That brown robe seems like the traditional sorcerer robes that we've seen, up there at the compound that those guys have been wearing. But Rob, we got a couple of other these characters here in Sleepwalker and Despair. What can you tell people about these characters?
Well, if I'm correct, there's a version of Despair that was in the Cloak and Dagger TV series.
Oh, which I gave up on after a few episodes.
Cloak and there was a version of him, but Despair in the comics, the Dweller in Darkness that's in Shang-Chi that was behind the wall, created Despair.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Created Despair from the fear of the destruction of Lemuria and Atlantis. That's where Despair was created from. So he's a bad dude, Despair has fought Hulk, Spider-Man, the New Avengers. So Despair has been around. And then Sleepwalker was introduced I have this miniseries, in this comic miniseries, like from the early 90s, and he would invade the dreams of people, or he would stop people or creatures that were trying to invade the dreams of people. And he has a human alter ego, and they're great. They're great.
So is he more of a good guy?
Yeah, more of a good guy than a villain.
So Rintra and Sleepwalker could be allies to Doctor Strange in this.
Could be allies. I mean, again, here's the thing. It's kind of like everyone saying, well, Mephisto's going to be in WandaVision. They've introduced characters in these toy lines, like in the Marvel Legends toy line, that have been in the comics that are not necessarily big parts of the movies. They could be. But I think so far, Dormammu in Doctor Strange was a great fantasy character, but not necessarily a huge part of the movie. You don't see Dormammu except in that realm.
I hear he likes to bargain.
He likes to bargain. And I just feel that these characters, both Despair and Sleepwalker, are very fantasy-esque characters. Not that Doctor Strange isn't.
Well, so's Rintra.
Yes. I mean, that's what I mean. But they're a little bit comic booky, and if it were more of a Ghost Rider kind of a movie, I'd say okay. In Doctor Strange, I'm sure they could show up, but we've already seen Mordo and we've seen Strange and Wanda. And I think one of the reasons that MCU works so well is a lot of the characters that we see, whether it's Loki or Odin, even the gods they're in some kind of a human form, so we can relate to them. These characters start pushing that. But, after seeing the Loki TV series, all bets are off. I could definitely imagine seeing these characters.
Now, it should be pointed out here that, we don't know for certain. It's possible Rintra, that could have been Rintra we saw in the trailer. As far as Despair and Sleepwalker, we don't know. We're not hearing from the studio. It's just that the toy line of Doctor Strange, they actually even have a pack of the various characters in Doctor Strange, and these ones are included in
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
It doesn't 100% mean that they're going to be in the movie, because we've seen a lot of times when toys that come out are reflective of what's in the movie, but we've seen a couple of examples. The one in particular I remember, before Justice League came out in theaters, there was a Justice League toy pack that came out that had Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Superman, Batman, Aquaman, and a Lex Luthor in the Lex. You remember that, Ray?
Yes, I did.
That
I
toy?
did remember that.
And it came with this Lex Luthor in the Lex Luthor comic book battle armor.
Yeah.
And like everyone's like, woo! But that's an example that sometimes these toy things can come out and they do not reflect what's going to be in the movies. A lot of times, most of the time, they do. So we'll see. But if you do find out that Despair, Sleepwalker, these guys are going to be in there, now you know a little bit about them.
Despair could tie into both Atlantis, meaning the Submariner,
Right?
and Namor, and Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of various ways that it could all connect.
Nice.
A lot of people in the chat are saying that Rintra was in the trailer.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
I didn't know if that was him or not, but it could be. I mean, it's hard to imagine that it would.
Sure it is.
There's a lot of different things here. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Number one, do you think these characters are actually even going to be in the movie? That's a big question right there. But they are attached to the toy set. If not, what do you think about these characters at all? Do you know much about them? Are you interested in seeing them? Are you kind of happy to see characters that maybe you don't recognize popping up? I still think Wanda's going to be the bad guy of the movie, but we'll find out for sure. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With all that down and out of the way, we're going to go over and play a little game, shall we? We're going to play a game of over-under.
Uh-oh.
And as a part of the over-under game, we're going to have Rob, Ray, and Kim all represent somebody in the game. And the winner of today's game, Ray, you want to take what is up for grabs here? We have this awesome Wenwu figure. I actually really contemplated just keeping this one for myself. When speaking of Shang-Chi, we got a Wenwu figure here. So here's what we're going to do. Representing Rob will be... Hold a second. Rob will be representing Antonio. All right. Rob will be representing Antonio.
All right, Antonio, let's go.
Kimberly will be representing Justin Jorgensen.
I got you, Justin.
Oh man.
And Ray will be representing Christian Munoz. Okay. Ray is representing Christian Munoz.
None of you have to remember his name.
Rob,
Believe
Ray,
in
with
yourself.
all the confidence in the world. All the confidence in the world. All right. So you guys will remember how the game over-under works. It's really simple. I present a scenario with a number. The contestants, Rob, Ray, and Kim, simply have to guess if the real number is over or under the number that I gave. Remember, contestants, when I call for your answer, just simply put out your hand with your thumbs up or your thumbs down. And remember, Ray, not to stick your hand way over your head for that one. All right.
Like this.
We're going to move over here. Let's start getting into this, shall we? Our first over-under question of the day. And guys watching, feel free to play along and throw your answer down into the comments as well if you'd like. All right. First over-under question today. Question number 1. And I don't know why I'm not getting this. There we go.
Hey, John, real quick.
Yes.
Do you want to throw in the question on that TV too so Rob could see it? Or can Rob even see that?
Rob wouldn't be able to see it from there. So here we go. First question is this. The number of Academy Awards nominations. Now, this was accidentally given away in one of the news stories earlier, but we'll see if you guys remember. The number of Academy Award nominations that Rooney Mara has, over or under 1.5. The number of Academy Award nominations that Rooney Mara has, over or under 1.5. And we will call for the answers in 3, 2, 1. Raise them up. Over, over, over. And that's, of course, in the Deadline article. It gave it away. That the answer is indeed, where is it? There it is. Over. Rooney Mara has 2 Academy Award nominations, one for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and one that a lot of people forget about, the 2015 film Carol. She was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for that. All right. Let's move on. So everybody's on the board.
Yes.
Ray's tied.
Yes.
All right. Sticking with that topic, let's move on to the next one. And the next question for Over Under is this. Number of Academy Award nominations, the subject that Rooney Mara will be playing, Audrey Hepburn had. The number of Academy Award nominations that Audrey Hepburn had, over or under 6.5. Number of Academy Award nominations for Audrey Hepburn, over or under 6.5. Answers in 3, 2, 1. What do we got here? Ray is saying, I'm missing it all together. Ray is saying under. Kim is saying under. Rob is saying over.
Oh,
And the answer is under. Audrey Hepburn had 5 Oscar nominations. Ray is like, Audrey Hepburn.
beat Rob, baby.
Audrey Hepburn had 5 Oscar nominations for Wait Until Dark, Breakfast at Tiffany's, her obviously most famous one, The Nun Story, Sabrina, my favorite film of hers, and Roman Holiday. So 5. So right now, Kim and Ray are both in the lead, leading 2-1 over Rob. All right.
Ray?
Yeah.
How's it feel?
We move on to question.
It ain't over yet,
Rob
buddy.
is serious.
It ain't over
I
yet.
try to smile at Rob right now. He didn't give me anything back.
He's pumped. All right, here we go. Question number 3 in our over-under game. Let's see if I can try that again. Question number 3. Not including his upcoming film Oppenheimer. Not including his upcoming film Oppenheimer. How many feature films has Christopher Nolan directed after Memento in 2000? Over or under 8.5. So not including Oppenheimer, how many feature films has Christopher Nolan directed after the movie he directed Memento in 2000? Over or under 8.5. And we will call for answers in 3, 2, 1. What do we got? Ray and Kim are both going under. Rob is going over. And the answer is over.
Oh,
Christopher Nolan has directed 9 feature films since Memento, including Insomnia, Batman Begins, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, Dunkirk, and his latest one, Tenet. And my favorite out of those is Insomnia.
We're tied now.
It's tied.
If I went over, I could have taken the lead and just left y'all on the dump.
Yeah, but you didn't. You answered wrong.
I know I
You
did
didn't go over.
wrong.
And
That's
the
a
trash
good
talk.
observation.
We're spicy today. I can feel it.
All right. We're moving. We're into the home stretch now. Question number 4. Going to go a little bit Russo brothers on you.
Ah.
Question number 4 is this.
Who's that, John?
It's one guy.
The number of episodes of the TV comedy Community that Joe Russo, one of the 2 Russo brothers, that Joe Russo directed. Number of episodes of the TV comedy Community that Joe Russo, not his brother Anthony, directed. Over or under 19.5 episodes. And the answer in 3, 2, 1. Answers. Ray is going over. Ray is going under. Kim is going over. And Rob is going under. And the answer is, if I can get it up here, there it is. The answer is over. Joe Russo directed 21 episodes. Joe's brother Anthony directed 14. So who got that right? Rob and Kim.
I did not.
Oh no, just Kim. Kim is in the lead now. She's up by 1 on Ray and Rob. Kim is
Yes, she
in
is.
the lead. All right. We got 3 questions left. Let's go over to the world of Harry Potter, shall we? And in the world of Harry Potter, the question is this. The worldwide box office total of the lowest grossing Harry Potter film, Prisoner of Azkaban. The worldwide box office total of the lowest grossing Harry Potter film, Prisoner of Azkaban, over or under $810 million. The lowest grossing Harry Potter film, Prisoner of Azkaban, was this box office result over or under $810 million. And the answer in 3, 2, 1. Answers. Ray is going under. Kim is going under. Rob is going under. All of them are saying under. And all of them are absolutely right. It was under. The Prisoner of Azkaban made $795 million, the only Harry Potter film to make under $800 million. So all of you got it. That is the lowest grossing of that franchise, which is absolutely crazy. All right. 2 questions left. And Rob, this one's for you.
Kim's still in the lead, though.
Kim is still in the lead by 1. By 1. You got 2 questions to get caught up here. Okay, here it is. Speaking of Star Trek, we were talking a little bit earlier about the kiss between Uhura and Captain Kirk. Number of episodes the original Star Trek series had that aired on television. Over or under 80.5. Number of episodes of the original Star Trek series that aired on television. Over or under 80.5.
You're talking about the original series.
The original series. The original series.
Oh, boy.
Which ran 3 seasons, over or under 80.5. And we're getting the answers in 3, 2, 1. Answers? Ray under, Kim under, Rob under. And I'm glad to see that Rob got this one right because yes, indeed, the answer is under. The 3 seasons of Star Trek had 79 episodes, not counting the pilot, which was actually shot, the first pilot was actually shot 3 years, I think, before the show actually began to air.
And it was rejected.
Yeah, the Captain Pike episode.
But it did air in 88. I think it was 88.
Yes, much
Finally aired
later,
in 88.
yes. All right, so the answer is under, and that means we're heading in, it's still anybody's game. We're heading into the final question now. 8th question, or 7th question. Kim is up by 1. She can win it all. She could end up in a tie right now, which will have to go to a sudden death if that happens.
Uh-oh.
But here it is. Final question for all the marbles. The total worldwide box office of the 4 Avengers movies combined. The total worldwide box office of the 4 Avengers movies combined, over or under 7.5 billion. The total box office of the 4 Avengers films combined, over or under 7.5 billion. And we're going answers in 3, 2, 1. Put them up. Ray is going under. Kim is going over. Rob is going over. And the answer is over. The 4 Avengers films have made over $7.76 billion at the box office, which means that question was tied. The winner, Kimberly Ann Curran. She wins.
Sorry, Antonio. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry,
That was a hard fought game.
Rob,
bro.
you forgot their name immediately, did you?
Munoz,
So,
What?
something like that.
so
It was like Jake.
Was Jake? I thought it was like Christian Munoz.
So our winner is Kim.
Anyway.
Congratulations on, I forget who Kim was representing. Who were you representing again?
Was it like
Joseph?
Joseph?
Yeah, you were representing Joseph.
Yeah.
So Joseph, you'll be getting an email from me finding out, Ray, can you hold that thing up?
Oh,
finding
yeah.
out where to send. Oh, he put it away back in his drawer,
Yeah,
thinking
there
he
we
was
go.
going to keep it.
There it
This Wenwu figure, and of course it's going to be autographed by myself, Robert, Ray, and Kim. We're all going to be autographing that and sending it off to you, so keep your eyes open for that. All right. That was fun.
Maybe that's what I should do from now on. Just show the prize.
Just no.
The prize show.
Hey, you did
The
well, man.
prize.
You had a bunch of them right there.
But can you like honestly like doing any sort of movie trivia with Robert Meyer Burnett involved? I'm sweating.
Yeah.
and
No,
I
this
can't
is fun.
believe I won.
Dude, that was good. It was good.
That's
See?
that's
you
important.
intimidate me,
When
Rob.
it's over under, everybody's in the game.
Yeah,
when
that's
it comes
the
to
thing.
over under.
It's true. It's not.
But Rob,
this is a-
you're just
it's a
All
good
right.
game.
you scare me, bro.
With all of that down,
you
guys.
won one this week. I won one this week. We're
I
equal.
know. I know.
Ray, of course, you know.
Ray, my new nickname should be Happy to Participate.
Just
Participation
happy to be
Ray.
here.
No, hey,
A
listen,
for
at least
effort.
you're stepping up, man. You're stepping
You
up.
got this, bro.
All right. With that all down, guys, let's now move over and start taking your live comments that you guys have been firing in here. Kim, what have people been saying there?
All right. Well, first, I want to thank Black Bono Lala for sending in a super chat. Thank you.
Black Bono.
Andy says, "Can you turn the Campea classroom Campea classroom of 2025 into a t-shirt. If you make it into a graduation cap and gown, that would be even better.
A full cap and gown? I'm so down, Andy. I love that. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to see if I can do that. All right, what's next?
Andy says, random movie crossovers. The Death Notebook. The Lion King Richard. Lady Birdman. Don't Look, Pixar's Up. Guardians of the Galaxy Quest. Marriage,
I like that one. Guardians of the Galaxy
Toy
Quest.
Story. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Nerds.
That's oddly appropriate.
Captain Phillips, The First Avenger. Rambo, Last Bloodshot. Dear Evan Almighty. And my favorite made-up crossover, Batman and Christopher Robin. Which of these random movie crossovers would you look forward to most?
Oh, that's easy.
LOL.
Guardians of the Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
I love that because, I mean, that's you could actually make that movie. That's one you could make. People don't talk enough about Galaxy Quest, Rob.
Right?
They don't, and it's fantastic. I mean, can you imagine you could actually get the whole cast of Guardians of the Galaxy that get somebody from the universe comes to get them, and they're like, we're not really Marvel characters. We're actors. And they get all whisked away, and they have to be their characters.
Whenever I think about the movie, I just think of Alan Rickman. Having
know.
just watched the Harry Potter thing. Alan Rickman.
By
Grab Thor's
Grabthar's
hammer. Oh! All right, what's next?
Scotty H says, The Boys Season 2 announced June 3rd, 2022. Let's go. I love how the team that runs the show uses mainstream ideas like Huggies. What? Huey's interview to surprise us.
I mean, there's just... it's a show that constantly surprises you. Not just by the juvenile fun stuff or the gore or the whatever. It's just the themes they use and address and hit and the way they incorporate that all into the show. It's a brilliantly done show, and I cannot wait for it.
Have you
Scotty.
seen the Vought news reports that they've been
Oh,
dropping
yes.
out there? I mean, they're great.
Oh my God, those things are hilarious. I love those. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn says, I can't wait to get high as hell and go see a double feature of Jackass and Moonfall. The way those movies were meant to be seen. Where's February?
You know what? In the world of awesome double header proposals, Jackass and Moonfall, that is kind of the right one. I think we got to book it.
Man, you need the dankest nugs for that show.
That's a viewing we got to do. All right, what's next?
Josh Avila says, Rob, this emoji, which looks like a green snake, is a snake lizard, not a duck.
I'm guessing that's an inside thing with you.
I have no. You know what? It's when I've been answering. I think your companion videos. I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Okay. Well, I guess now that you mention, I see a snake now. I probably would have thought it was a duck too.
Yeah, I'm old. Emojis are beyond me.
All right, what's next?
Harvest K says, to Sir with love, R.I.P. Mr. Tibbs.
One of the most iconic lines I think it's safe to say one of the most iconic lines in film history.
Call me
Mr. Tibbs.
Oh,
so good. That was good.
That was really
good. That was good.
Kim.
I appreciate it.
Again, it's just not just a famous dude, not just a talented dude. Like this, the change. This guy was so influential in what he did. He was an important dude. And anyway, again, sad to hear about his passing. All right, what's next?
Fatim Mahmood says, hi, John. Are you going to do a Marvel ranking in the near future?
Probably not.
I'm sorry if I missed something about not doing MCU ranking anymore.
Look, pretty much the only rankings I'll do is at the end of the year. I'll do my top 10 favorite of the year, my top 10 most anticipated. I do very rarely do I do rankings outside of that. Not very often. Like every once in a while, I'll tell people how I rank my Star Wars films.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell people that my favorite of this thing is this, but I won't do like a full list. So I don't think I'll probably do a full list of rankings anytime soon, but I don't know, maybe, who knows, we'll see. But I still think the greatest Marvel movie of all time is the original Avengers. I still think that's the greatest comic book movie of all time, all things considered, but there's that. All right, what's next? Michael
Brandy says, R.I.P. to the legend, Sir Sidney Poitier, a life well lived. I remember Denzel's salute to Sidney at the 2002 Oscars, where Denzel won his first. Respect.
Was that his first or second? That wasn't the same year that Halle Berry won. No, Halle Berry won later.
Yeah.
That was a different year. Again,
was that 2002? Was that Training Day?
Mm-hmm.
I thought.
So we won for Training Day.
I thought he won for Training Day. What did
he
win?
win supporting actor for Glory? I don't know. If he did
Earlier, I'm sure. When did Halle Berry win the Oscar for Monsters Ball?
Was that 2004? 3.
Because I thought they got it at the
I
same year. I think Denzel and
they
her
might
got
have.
that on, and that might have been that year. All right, what's next?
Fanimator says, buy one, rent one, lose one. Matrix 4, Rise of Skywalker, Fast 9.
I would buy. They're all, diarrhea stains on your underwear. But,
No.
I will buy Matrix 4. I will rent Fast 9. I will lose Rise of Skywalker.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, for different reasons though. All right, what's next?
Thank you so much to Solid Gold for sending in a super chat. That's awesome. Rafael Castillo says Sidney Poitier showed how to earn respect with his supreme talent and quiet dignity. Not to belittle great blaxploitation flicks like Shaft, but Sidney did it without a lot of violence. Let me find number 2. From the detective I can respect, Mr. Tibbs, to a teacher I would have loved to have.
Yeah.
Not enough praise can be heaped upon the great Mr. Poitier.
There's just something to be said. The presence that he had on screen when he spoke, there was a James Earl Jones-ness to it.
Yes.
That the combination of his physical presence with his voice, it commanded attention and respect every time he spoke. There's very, very few performers like that ever since. All right, what's next?
Dalton Gray says, so stoked for the multiverse of madness. Robert is the truth. Ray, you the best. Kim is the queen. And John, you the man.
Oh, so astute, Dalton. So astute. All right, what's next?
I agree.
Sam Fisher says, my favorite Shakespeare quote from Much Ado. But for which of my good parts did you suffer love for me? Suffer love. A good epith. Did I say that right? I do suffer love indeed, for I love thee against my will.
And again, so the reason Sam's writing that in is we've had a couple of people write in the last few days about, because we've been talking about the tragedy of Macbeth. Mm-hmm. And we've had a few people write in, understandably so, saying, hated the movie, I had to check out because the Shakespearean English is just not something that translates well to me. And there's nothing to feel bad about that because it's just the way your brain's wired. That's it. Like, honestly, if I wasn't reading like Shakespeare when I was a lot younger, I would probably watch it and go, wait, what? What the hell is Lady Macbeth smoking? And what is it she's saying to her husband? Like, but it's just, but man, try to, if you can get into it, some of the greatest storytelling ever. Rob?
Here's the thing. I do think that when you're part of a society, we live in a society. When you're part of a society, I think it's important that there are certain touchstones. Like, for instance, whether or not you believe in the Old and the New Testament, I think it's important to know the Old and the New Testament because they're kind of the basis of Western civilization. And Shakespeare's storytelling has been retold in many, many different forms. And I think it's important to have at least Romeo and Juliet. And I think Romeo and Juliet is the most accessible, perhaps, of Shakespeare's plays. Give it a go. Just give it a go. And I think that it will be enriching for you. And then go back and take a look at the tragedy of Macbeth.
And DiCaprio's Romeo and Juliet is kind of a nice segue because it does it all with modern imagery.
Right.
With the original language.
And you know what? That's a really good point. Take the actual play.
Yeah.
And have it in your lap when you watch Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, and it'll start to click.
Yeah.
Because people are right. If you've never read Shakespeare and you're like, wait a minute, this is English, but I don't understand what they're saying. I mean, it's enriching. It'll and Julius Caesar and Henry V, we few. We happy few.
May I
we
interject
band of
here?
brothers.
Yes.
2002 was the year that Halle Berry and Denzel Washington won.
Okay, so that was it. So that was the year they also that
a lot of
Sidney
people
Poitier also got honored that year. Okay, so it was 2002. See, that I did not think it was that long ago. I just like, oh my god,
Dude, we're old. We're
20
close to
years
death.
ago. All right, what's next?
Mr. Hank Dunn says, happy birthday to my real dad, Nicolas Cage. Hope to see him as Superman in The Flash.
And of course, the great John Schnepp, the late great John Schnepp, he did his documentary film, The Death of Superman Lives What Happened, in which Nicolas Cage was supposed to play Superman. Has some great images in it, too, of Nicolas Cage in the Superman costume. So, I mean, that movie got so close to being made.
And like you said, the Cage-assance is coming because he's got that great movie where he plays himself.
Which could be totally terrible, but totally fun. You add on top of that Pig and a number. Look, I'm waiting for the Cage-a-sons to return. I'm waiting for it. All right, what's next?
ER's grandpa says, John and crew, thanks for announcing YTTV has Yellowstone in full, which
I
is
don't know what
YouTube
YTTV
TV.
Oh, okay.
Currently binging season 2. You are so right. SOA with horses and big black helicopter.
It's Sons of Anarchy with horses. I also call it Godfather with horses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's that good. And I just watched the new season finale. Oh my God. Like,
I can't wait to catch up.
Oh my God, it's so good. So now that I'm caught up, I'm going to start watching the prequel 1883, which everybody has been raving about.
So
very, very excited to see that. All right, what's next?
Tim Platt says, they call me Mr. Tibbs. Those 5 words will remain with me for the rest of my life. There was so much I learned about self-respect and standing up for myself from the life and career of Mr. Poitier. Thank you and R.I.P.
I mean, again, I don't think on some little crappy YouTube show done in a converted garage, we can properly encapsulate the influence and importance of the career and the life that he had, especially on a lot of people. And I think you captured that very well there, Tim. Thanks for sharing that. You put it much better than I could have. Thanks for that, man. All right, what's next up?
Jacob Kruika says, over under 50% Silver Surfer is in MCU Fantastic Four.
I'm going to go under 50%. I think, look, Silver Surfer at some point is going to be used. They're going to use Silver Surfer. I don't think they're going to crack him out in the first Fantastic Four movie. Rob, what do you think?
Post-credit scene.
Think post-credit? That's not bad. That's not a bad call. I could see that
So I
happening.
have to go, I guess that means over 50%?
Yeah, I would go that way. All right, what's next?
Cookiehead Jenkins, I
Cookie
love
Head
that name,
Jenkins.
says, what's good, crew? Happy Friday. I know I'm late, but I wanted to know your reviews on Last Night in Soho and Nightmare Alley. Ayo, Rob, what up, my guy?
Look,
yo.
I still haven't seen Nightmare Alley. That's the one I still haven't seen.
Bro.
You know, I talked about that in my top 10 of the year list, that the one film I still haven't seen is Nightmare Alley. Last Night in Soho, which is a film by one of my all-time favorite directors, Edgar Wright. I love Edgar. Not my favorite Edgar Wright film. Now, I don't know if I just got too pumped up because I heard a lot of people like just utterly raving about it. And the performances in it are great. They are. I thought the movie was decent. I watched it with Anne. She fell asleep. I thought the movie was decent. There's some things in it that did not make sense. Particularly, you got a lead character girl that I just don't see anything redeeming about her. And it's like, why is that guy in love with her? Because she hasn't done anything in this movie so far that would make me believe that that guy would fall in love with her. But whatever, that aside, I still liked it. I thought it was like the vision of Edgar Wright. And here's the thing that I love about Edgar Wright. Even a lot of the greatest directors in Hollywood will not get out of their sandbox. A lot of the greatest directors in Hollywood will only do films that are just like definitively like their films. Edgar Wright is always trying something new and always stretching his boundaries. And I love that about this. And again, I liked Last Night in Soho, didn't love it. Rob, what do you think about it?
I think Last Night in Soho and Nightmare Alley are similar films to me. They're both beautifully made. Nightmare Alley especially was just gorgeous. But both of them I felt were lesser films in their respective directors' oeuvres. I didn't like them as much as I wanted to like them. I went into both movies wanting to love them both. And certainly the craft is there. But like Nightmare Alley is kind of like West Side Story for me. It was beautifully made, but I really love the original Nightmare Alley. And when I was watching the modern Nightmare Alley, I'm like, does this resonate with modern audiences at all? Do they understand the milieu and everything that was going on? I mean, I just felt it was sort of, I don't know, a movie out of time in a way. And Last Night in Soho, especially the twists, didn't all work for me. But beautifully made, and I'm glad I saw them.
All right, what's next?
This is coming from KC Mack. They call me Mr. Tibbs. R.I.P. to a great actor. R.I.P. Sidney Poitier.
Again, you guys got to go back and start watching. If you haven't seen, especially personally, I think kind of the most pivotal film for me was a different one. It was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Like that was a movie so far ahead of its time, but so many in his repertoire you guys got to go back and check out. All right, what's next?
Purple Haze 4564 says, John, freaking Ewoks liked your depiction of them.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not my depiction of the Ewoks. Y'all just don't understand them. That is the depiction of the Ewoks. The movies show us clearly. These are bloodthirsty, murderous little psychopaths. They will hunt you. They will capture you. They won't do you the mercy of killing you. Instead, they're going to tie you up to a spit and burn you alive over an open fire as you scream in agony, waiting for the merciful release of death. And then once that happens, they will rip the flesh from your bones and eat you. And then they will play your head as a bongo drum as they celebrate their murder. That's the Ewoks. That's the Ewoks. And again, when Princess Leia comes out of that hut in that dress,
Oh my God.
she's wearing the dress of a murdered woman. I mean, that's the Ewoks. I know it's hard. But these are the cuddly little adorable things. And I'll tell you what, after that last night's celebration on Endor's, the rebels got the fuck out because they weren't going to go to sleep around the Ewoks. Because they're going to wake up. Well, no, they're not going to wake up because they're going to be dead. So anyway, there's that. Enjoy the Ewoks, ladies and gentlemen. I love the Ewoks. All right, what's next?
I will never look at them the same again. AK Analemy says, says, have y'all seen Justin Chan's Blue Bayou with him and Alicia
Vikander.
Vikander, thank you. It's my third favorite 2021 film. It's beautiful and really moving. Thank you.
I never did see it.
It's really good.
Really? What's the basic idea?
It's basically about an Asian American that is dealing with.
I take it back. I did see. Yeah. Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Go, please continue.
No, no. I mean, it's about how does he has his comeuppance and how does he become a good person and deal with his past and become a family man, and it's really good. It's really good.
Alicia Vikander is one of. It looked like she was on a rocket to becoming a top 4 or 5 in Hollywood. I mean, she got her Academy Award and all that kind of stuff. And I think she's great. I don't think she's had a misstep. So I'm a little bit surprised she's actually not even bigger right now than she is. But anyway, this is kind of me. All right, what's next?
Patrick Menace says, Weird Al did a parody of Hamilton. Have you heard it, John?
Nope. But if it's out there, I'll find it and I'll listen to it. Because if Weird Al does it, it's going to be awesome. Because that's all Weird Al does. He just does awesome. All right, what's next?
Elmist says over 25% that Professor X and Reed Richards appear in Doctor Strange 2, played by Stewart and Grufford. From different universes, of course, not from the main MCU.
Under. I don't think they're just going to do a repeat of Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, is it a possibility? Sure. Like right now, Kevin Feige just seems to be whatever. I mean, I can just try whatever right now. So it's possible. I'm not going to say it can't happen. It's possible. But I'm going to go under 25%. What about you, Rob?
I think I'm going to go over.
Really?
It is after all, the multiverse of madness.
Okay.
And I think they've got to live up to that. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets really mad.
Well, yeah.
And I don't know how mad they're going to go. I mean, basically at the end of No Way Home, in the end credits, you see the electric company's Spider-Man. So, hey, anything's possible.
Anything's possible. All right, what's next?
TR Noir says, Kim, Ray, Rob, welcome back. And John, thank you for all the content. Having worked on a small podcast myself, I know recording 1 to 2 times a day, 5 days a week, live is no small feat. I salute you all and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much for that, TR. By the
and he
way,
sends in a 1999 super
tipped
chat.
in 20 bucks. Thank you so much for that, TR, for your generosity there. It's funny because you would laugh if you knew how many times we had. So, John, you shoot your show about 2 hours a day. What do you do with the other 22 hours in your day?
God, are you kidding me?
I'm like, guys, you have no idea. Actually, I have, some of you know, because we have made videos about what an average day around here looks like. And it is kind of crazy. But you know what? We get to do this for a living, which is amazing. And we have
Such a gift.
The most incredible community. Like, seriously, Rob and I have talked about this a lot in the past, that knowing just every day we get to get up and we get to engage with the community that we have here is one of the big motivating factors. So thank you so much for being a part of it. And thanks to everybody for giving us the juice to do it. We really appreciate it. All right. What's next?
William Bang says, hey, John, regarding the discussion of Shakespearean language from yesterday, people can, 1, get a copy of Macbeth with updated language,
Ooh.
and 2, then get a good book on how to read Shakespeare. Bring on the filthy, John.
See, I don't mind that idea, William, if you're using it as an intermediary step. Like what I wouldn't suggest doing is just find something that rewords it into modern English and just leave it at that. Like, go ahead and do that. If the plan is then once I've done that, then I will get the actual original language. If you can, as Christopher Plummer says, in the original Klingon. So go and read it. Read the updated thing, sure, but then make sure you go and read the other thing. And that sounds like a good way to get yourself into step. So maybe you could do that and then pick up another thing and then just read it right off the bat. That would be kind of a cool in-between step.
You can get Hamlet in Klingon.
Can you?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, you can.
Okay, that's a book table. That's an end table book you got to have on your thing. I would love that. All right, what's next?
J.R. Wheeler says, I loved all of Sidney Poitier's movies. 2 personal favorites were To Sir with Love and the ensemble film Sneakers.
Oh, he's so good in Sneakers.
Sneakers is a movie that does not get enough love.
And it doesn't get old.
No, it's so. And Ben Kingsley, the cast of that movie.
Robert Redford, Ben Kingsley, Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix.
Phil Alden Robinson. It was his follow-up to Field of Dreams.
And
director.
the amazing perfect appearance at the end of James Earl Jones.
So good.
It is a, oh my, I don't want to say the word perfect, but it's a great movie. If you haven't seen Sneakers, gotta watch Sneakers. It's so good. All right.
And he says 2 movies that showed his range.
Yes, yeah. I mean, absolutely. He was a guy who could do anything. Like, and I don't think I'd really seen him kind of do comedy. I mean, look,
He directed
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? He directed, but to see him in that kind of a movie like Sneakers, I hadn't really seen him in a movie like that before. So that was kind of pretty cool. All right, what's next?
TR Noir says, small hope for Doctor Strange. If Wanda does bring mutants into the MCU, I hope she does it with a snap of her finger. A reverse Thanos. That would be epic.
See, I don't think, no, I that's an Infinity Stone thing. So I would leave that out of it. If she's going to do something like that, it has to be an homage to one of the most important lines ever spoken in the pages of comic books. No more mutants. Oh, it has to be a variation of that, obviously. But if she's going to do it, it should not be with the snap of a finger. It's got to be saying words. And I'm not saying she's to say, make everyone mutants. I mean, that's ridiculous. You'd have to get a professional writer to come up with the actual words, but it would have to pay homage to that if they're going to do that. All right, what's next?
Josie Reviews says, my thoughts on the 355. I think the story beats from The Protege, just without the fun. Twists and turns you see miles away. In conclusion, it's a bad movie.
You know what? I was thinking that Ann and I were talking about we had other plans and we can't do them now. So we were thinking about maybe going to see them. So I'm going to look up, hold on a second. Where's 355? Last time we checked, it was 17%. So the 355 right now. Oh, it's gone up. It's gone up.
Breaking news.
24%.
Wow.
With 105 reviews. I still think I'm going to go see it.
But look at that audience score.
Audience score, well, that's with 50 fewer than 50. Normally, I don't count audience score till it's over like 400.
Yeah.
But right now, it's got fewer than 50. But, I mean, hey, the 355. I'll still check it out. I'm going to see what... I don't know why. I know why, because I just love the cast. All right, what's next?
Hayden Sane says, everyone wants Spider-Man 4 and ASM 3, Amazing Spider-Man 3, but I think it would be sensational if Tobey and Andrew were to make cameos in a Spider-Verse film. Maybe keep them masked to avoid rendering their faces poorly.
I don't think that fits the story of Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse stuff at all. So that's one of those situations where you're putting characters before the story. And I think that would be a mistake. I think that would be a mistake. Like, you're sacrificing the overall movie to give you a moment of, ooh, look who's there. You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. It was great getting that in Spider-Man No Way Home. And it was great that they used them in a significant way rather than just a, hey, remember me, everybody? But I don't think they should do that within. Do any of you guys think otherwise? Do you guys think they should do it into the universe?
No, no, because I kind of like the purity. You know, they already did it. They did it in No Way Home and Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse is its own thing, and it's earned it. It doesn't need to be diluted.
You agree, Kim?
100%. Rob took the words right out of my mouth. 100%. Yeah.
All right.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
Give it back. No, just kidding.
What's next?
James LH says, John, Sidney is a fave of mine. In the Heat of the Night, Sneakers, Defiant Ones. His early role in Blackboard Jungle. I loved Stir Crazy. All time great.
Defiant Ones is great. I forgot about that.
I mean, that's the thing. You're talking about a guy who we didn't just, beloved and all that kind of stuff. We're talking about a guy who was an all-time great. Like an absolute all-time great. In all-time great movies.
Right.
So it wasn't just that he was great. It's just one of those careers. And
his rise to prominence also came during the civil rights era and a lot of what was going on at the time. So he wasn't just an actor. He became an important figure in our life.
All right, what's next?
Jack Master Norrid says, "Hi guys, I was going to see the 355 last night, but it was -9 outside and -22 with wind chill here in Minnesota. I would have been traveling by bus, not car."
Yeah, no, that's not bus weather.
Oh my God.
The audience scored probably -72 at that point too.
That is not bus weather, especially when you get into the -22. Ooh. A buddy of mine, now -22, that's probably, what would that be? Maybe -15
Holy cow.
Celsius or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But a buddy of mine, David Zebart. I had a buddy of mine in Saskatoon, his name David Zebart, one of the purely funniest guys I've ever known in my life. But I remember when I lived in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, which we would often get like 4 to 6 weeks in the wintertime of -40. He would often say to me, anything after -20 is just math. once it's cold enough to kill you, doesn't really matter how much colder it is after that. All right, what's next?
Giovanni Velasquez says, "Excited for Ozark season 4, top 10 shows of all time."
Not one I watch. Ann and I tried watching the first 3 or 4 episodes. Didn't really work for us, and we kind of tuned out. But I know a lot of people that love it.
That new trailer is epic.
I know you love this show.
Yeah.
And do you watch Ozark? No, you did watch Ozark, right?
I did watch Ozark, but 2020, with as dark as it got, I couldn't watch it.
All right.
I couldn't.
What's next?
Colby says, "Only Soldier Boy I know is Soldier Boy. Tell him."
There you go. There's a new one in town, though. He's the captain now. All right, what's next?
He's the captain now. Canadian singing postie.
Hey.
Sent in a 1949 super chat. Thank you. "Love that the boys are coming in June. I have a good friend who worked on the costuming for the show. She said there's a scene that OMG big surprises. Here's to y'all as I enjoy my double and a Boston cream."
A little Timmy's action there.
Sounds
Action there
good.
from Singing Postie. Listen, we were talking about this beforehand. You guys have probably heard us say this before, but the boys, Aaron Cummings was like one of the finalists to be Queen Maeve, and her husband Tom Degnan, he was in the running to play Homelander. I think he would have been an awesome Homelander. I really do. But then again, I think both of them are awesome. So I was just talking to Kim this morning, by the way. She says hello to everybody. But
Aaron.
yes. What's that?
You said talking to Kim, Aaron.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Kim? Sorry,
Yeah.
I was looking at Kim. So I was talking to Aaron this morning. I was talking to Kim earlier today too. I was talking to Aaron earlier today. She says hello to everybody. So just another little connection there. But yes, Posty, I am so excited for the return of this show. I am so excited for it. All right, what's next?
Yash Rajput says, "Hi, John. I started watching you in 2016 when you went solo, and the show was called the John Campea Podcast. I remember you uploading your first video show in July 2016. Let me find the other part. Before July 2016, you used to make small editorial videos and upload the podcast version of the show on YouTube. TBH, the production value has come a long way, and I have watched every single day. Meanwhile, I also have completed my bachelor's, master's, and started working.
Nice.
LOL. Love the community here and bring on the filthy."
Thank you so much for that, Rash. Yes, I went back a couple of weeks ago. I went back and started looking at some of my earlier videos, and it's like, I remember, you know what? I'll tell you what. I was actually talking to Ann last night, and remember when I decided to leave my job and start doing the John Campea stuff solo, I remember my initial goal was to make at least $200 a month. If I could make $200 a month, I could at least contribute to the internet bill or our phone bill, right? And that was it. And then Ann and I were sitting there last night, and I looked, that's 4 years ago. And now we're where we're at. And we have been so lucky to have like incredible forward-thinking visionary sponsors like stamps.com. Keyword or promo code Campea. Don't forget about that. And we've had others, and we have more. We have more that have already signed up. We just haven't started running spots for them yet. That allow us to do what we do, to have the cameras that we have, to have the team and the staff that we have, to try to bring you guys the most fun and hopefully informative show every day that we can. And it is kind of amazing every time I look back to making the decision to leave and saying, you know what, if I can just make enough to pay our phone bill, then I'm still contributing. And by the way, you guys hear me gush about Ann all the time. And I said this the last Academy of Web Television Award that I won. I said this in my acceptance speech, but I said, how many people have a spouse that if you go to them and say, hey, honey, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to make YouTube videos from the spare bedroom. How many people have the type of spouse and partner that would say, you're damn right you are? That's what mine said. That's what my wife said to me. When I told her I wanted to do this and this is what I'm thinking, she looked at me, she said, damn right that's what you're doing. And could not have done any of this without, I use the word literally here, the visionary partner that I have in Ann. I never would have been able to do this and her support and all that kind of stuff now. And she reminds me of that whenever we go out to dinner, like we did last night, and the bill comes. She goes, remember how I supported you? Yes, honey. Paying the bill. Yeah. Anyway, so here's to my wife, Ann. All right. What's next?
That's awesome. Mr. Cool Breeze 69 says, finally, the Rob has come back to the John Campea Show to lay the smackdown on all those candy-ass movie, TV, streaming services. Smell what Pleasures is cooking.
Pleasures is cooking.
Wow. I want to say that Kimberly laid the smackdown on me today, though, so don't forget that.
Yeah, Kimberly got the win today. Kimberly got the win. I mean, everybody's going to start
on a 2-win streak.
But I did get, when I put out a call for people to send in to ask if they wanted to be entered into the contest today and who they want. I always ask, you got to name who you want to be representing you. A bunch of them listed Ray, and at least a couple of them said, Ray, ... because he's due.
The belief.
The belief is still there.
Those are the people that always bet on green when they're playing roulette in Vegas.
I know, but I'll tell you what, honestly, every day, the majority of the people, the majority of the submissions come in, or people want Ray to represent them. So they believe in you, Ray.
They believe in
they believe
a miracle now.
How do I sign up? I'll sign up.
They think
for
you
Ray
got
to
the
represent
recipe.
me.
Chef Pleasures has the recipe for life. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher says they should get Kate Blanchett to play Catherine in the Rooney Mara movie. Oh, I think they mean Catherine Hepburn.
Yeah.
Were they sisters, or did they just have the same last name?
No,
Audrey
they weren't. They were not sisters.
They weren't sisters, right?
No.
Yeah, because Audrey Hepburn grew up in war-torn.
Yes.
Was it Germany?
No, it wasn't Germany. It was where was she? She was born.
The Netherlands, because she was Dutch.
Yeah, I remember the name of it, and then she changed her name.
Yeah, she changed her name. Her mom changed her name for her safety. That movie, there's a story there. And the reason why Audrey Hepburn did so much for Save the Children is because her and her siblings almost starved to death. That's why Save the Children and Feed the Children were so important to her. That's going to be a cool movie. All right. Film Chris says, just wondering if you have seen Dope Sick on Disney Plus. Michael Keaton and Caitlin Dever are terrific in it.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
That's what is this the one where Michael Keaton plays the doctor, and this is when the doctors are being pressured to prescribe
about the opioid crisis.
Yeah, cotton. What's the name?
Oxycontin.
Yeah,
he's really good in it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins an Emmy. Is it too late for him to win an Emmy?
No, I don't think so.
He really should.
He's really good.
He really should.
All right, what's next?
ER's I'm sorry. I'm dying, you idiot, Sinclair says, yeesh, Simon Kinberg just can't catch a break, can he?
Well, look, I will say this, because I am a fan of Simon Kinberg, and he's a really nice dude. Like, I only got the chance to meet and hang out with him a little bit once, but he seems like a really nice dude, and I really like most of his work. I cut him a break when it comes to X-Men, Dark Phoenix, thank you. Because number one, I don't think it's the absolute train wreck that some people make it out to be.
I don't either.
It's not great. It's not good. But But the train sequence, like seriously, the train sequence in that movie, I honestly think is one of the better, probably a top 15 best action sequences in comic book films.
There's good stuff in it.
There's some good stuff in there. But I always said it was an absolute mistake for somebody who has never directed a film before to make the first film they direct to be a big, major, big budget, blockbuster, tentpole kind of a film like an X-Men series. And everybody always says that thing, but John, he knows the comics. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He never directed anything before. And to make the first thing you direct that, I said from day one that was a mistake for this movie and for him. And turns out it ended up not having great results. But then when 355 got announced, I'm like, there we go. This is what you should have started with, is something like this. But now he's learned the lessons that he learned from the X-Men, misstep.
Has he, though?
Well, yeah, I mean, that
Has he?
was the optimism. I was thinking at the time, he's learned all these lessons. He's going to bring these lessons to this. This is where he really should have started. And apparently it's not so good either. So I don't know. Back to writing and producing.
Hey, they renewed his show Invasion, which blows me away.
Well, look, Ray loves Invasion, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either.
The most boring alien invasion
It was
situation
very boring.
ever,
And I kept
ever.
watching it.
Me too. I just kept watching it. Wait, I mean, Roland Emmerich had aliens come to Earth, destroy the world, and get defeated in 2.5 hours. And in 2.5 hours, they don't even know that there's aliens on Earth.
To be honest, I really like the actor who plays the soldier.
Oh, no, he's great.
He's great.
No, he's really good.
He's a good actor. That's
And I like the woman who plays the mom whose husband was cheating. Like, she's really good, too.
The actors are great. But I mean, the scenario, there's been episodes, kids are stuck in a hole.
It's the slowest burn you can ever burn.
And it never catches fire.
But there's going to be another season, right? Maybe it picks up.
I doubt it.
Oh, it's bad when you got to just tell people, wait till season 2 is where it starts to get
Just
good.
watch the first and last
good.
episode of season 1. Then we're going to ride into season 2. Ride into
Dude, let's just hold your roll. Let's make it all about Moonfall.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not going to get into Invasion season 2 with you. Come on now.
Now, Ray, you can always bring up Manifest to Rob too if you want. If you want to throw back.
I like Manifest.
Oh my God! What?
My man.
I told you.
Yeah.
You're the same.
Dude, we should have a Manifest La Brea double feature every year next summer.
Manifest and La Brea.
Oh, I can't. You guys are nuts.
All right. Let's get back to some sanity here. What's next?
ER's grandpa says, Breakfast at Tiffany's was my first theatrical film. A buddy's mom went to see it, and we were both under 10. So what did we know? I remember Kat.
Oh, my gosh. And by the way,
Mommy,
Breakfast
she's
at
at
Tiffany's obviously probably will always be what she's most known for and stuff like that. And it's great. I watched that later. Like, I remember back probably in the mid-2000s, I was on a bit of a run of like, okay, this one year I was like, I'm going to get all the classic movies that I haven't watched yet, or ones that maybe I saw when I was really little and I just don't remember them. And this year I'm going to knock all these ones out. And Breakfast at Tiffany's was one of those ones. Might have been like 2004, 2005, something like that. And just being like, wow.
And it
Like,
had such an effect on culture. Like
It
being in
did.
weddings, it was the most theme used for bridal showers.
oh my
Every bride I worked with, I want a Breakfast at Tiffany's kind of vibe. Oh my
Although,
gosh.
it now is problematic because of Mickey Rooney's portrayal of an Asian gentleman, which doesn't work too well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's yeah.
That doesn't stand up.
No. No.
All right, what's next?
Michael Brandy says, Wait Until Dark is my favorite Audrey Hepburn flick.
Great pick. Great pick.
Dark horse pick there. All right, what's next?
Sam Sprill says, Hey guys, saw Sing 2 earlier today and I loved it. Are any of you excited for Euphoria Season 2 and Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 2 premiered this weekend?
Okay, I'll say this. Zendaya is brilliant in Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
I can't watch it.
Me neither, dude.
I tried. I got a number of episodes into it, and I'm just like, I just feel dirty watching it. Like, I feel there's a heaviness that comes from just watching it. It's like, I'm not enjoying watching this.
I feel like a dirty old man watching it.
Especially like when they end up in the girl ends up in the hotel.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
nothing about this is
Skeevy.
making me feel good.
Little
Like,
skeevy.
yeah, and it's like the art of it is great. The performances are fantastic, and I could see a lot of people just really getting a lot out of the show. I could see a lot of people getting a lot out of it. But for me, it was like, I just felt bad watching it. Not because it wasn't well done. It couldn't work for me on that level. Did you watch it?
I did, and I feel the same way. It kind of brought me down a little, but so I had to just kind of focus on the acting. The funny thing about it is that there was a live Q&A with the cast, and this little girl goes to Zendaya and it's like, hi, I love your show. And she's like, why are you here? Whose mother? Where's your mother? The kid was like 8. Yeah, not for children.
All right, what's next?
Ismael Montoya says, Ray, oh my gosh, best line ever.
Is that what he said when we were talking about Scream? Oh my gosh. Something like that. That was the line. All right, what's next?
Elizabeth. It wasn't even that. It was the way you said it.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Elizabeth Gerardo says, when Scream 5 gets better reviews than 355, as of Rotten Tomatoes, Scream's Rotten Tomatoes. As of right now, Scream's Rotten Tomatoes score isn't posted. Yikes. But 355 has a 24%, so another loss for Kinsberg.
I don't think it's an exaggeration. Now, it was just, I would bet $1 million. No. But I don't think it's an exaggeration. If you had come to me 6 months ago and bet me $10,000 that Scream would be getting a better reception than the 355, I would have taken that bet. And I'd be $10,000 poorer right now. I mean, it's crazy. Just again, 355 looked fantastic when they first started. The sound of it was great. I'm a sucker for these spy espionage movies.
The trailers are good.
This cast is like some of the best kick-ass women in the business today. I mean, yes, this is going to be the better film. This is going to be the one that people respond to better. I'll put 10 grand on that. It's a good thing nobody made that bet. Just like Kim failing to put actual stakes.
Throwback.
First of all, if you even want to take it there, let's rewind to all the times on air when I said, "Hey, John, we need to set the parameters for the bet."
How many times did I say that too?
Talk
I said it more
that.
than you
Don't
did.
even start.
I said it more than you did. It's like we saw.
No, you didn't.
I did. I said
it, and you're like, what's
Manifest,
next?
Rob.
Because you were scared.
Rewriting
I can't wait for
history.
season 4, buddy.
You were scared. Just a minute. You were
rewriting
scared.
history.
Awesome.
All right,
you were
what's
scared.
next?
You were scared. Wiley Todd sends in a 1999 super chat. John, I don't know how long it's been since you've seen Scream 4, but it's actually fantastic, especially the opening sequence. Give it another sometime, please. I'm also excited to see the new Scream movie. Had my ticket since Christmas.
Wow. A number of years ago, back when I was like still a student and I was like working construction during the summers, I was one of those guys that for a couple of weeks, I was the low guy on the totem pole. So for a couple of weeks we're doing road construction, I was the guy that had to stand there with the stop slow sign. It's not a job I would wish on anybody. I would have rather had a shovel in my hand and been in the ditch doing some stuff, but I was the guy doing that. And it was during rush hour and everybody had been backed up in traffic for probably well over an hour. And as I got the signal that I had to stop traffic again, because we were going back and forth, guy in a pickup truck just decided he had waited long enough. And when I stepped out and put my hand out, he decided to hit the gas, hit me, threw me into the ditch.
What?
Yeah, I got hit. I had to go to the hospital. Guy came over, threw me, just like threw my arm, the whole bit.
Did he get arrested?
No.
He drove off?
Yeah, drove off.
Shut up.
And nobody really cared at the time because they're like, John's down, right? And they're all taken care of. They're coming over to me. So never got the guy. Anyway, it's been a while since I had that experience. I don't need to relive it again. I liken that experience unto watching Scream 4. I don't need to go back and try it again. I don't need to go back and relive it. It's awful. It's awful. I'm glad if you like it. I'm glad you do. Your opinion is no less valid than mine. Your point of view on it is no less valid than mine. If you like it, and I celebrate that. But nope, I don't want to get kicked in the balls again. I don't want to get hit by another car. I don't want to watch Scream 4 again.
I'm glad you made it through that, John. And so does Scream 4.
Wow.
What's next?
Oh my gosh. Jack Graham says, "Hi, John and Rob. What's your most anticipated new or current TV series of 2022?"
I don't watch enough TV. What about you, Ray?
Someone was bringing up if I guess Peacemaker reviews are out. That's when I wanted to.
Yeah, last I heard it had like a 70% or something like that. I have to check that. But I am looking forward to Peacemaker.
Okay.
But it's definitely not my most anticipated.
Oh, okay.
What about you, Rob?
No. Of the whole year?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean,
Look,
The Boys will rank up there.
Look, I gotta say, after the trailer this morning, I'm really excited for Ozark season 4.
Yeah, I think a lot of
only
people will
because they've split it into 2 sections. I think there's 20 episodes this season,
yeah,
and they're
there's
doing
a
a
part
part 1
one
and
and
a
then
part
part
2.
two.
But I mean, I'm really excited for that. And then The Expanse, which I'm really excited for, is ending. There's only one more episode
Yeah,
left.
It's already out. It's already
And I
out.
have to say, all right, you're going to hold this against me. Because hope springs eternal.
Oh,
and
don't say it. Oh,
probably
don't
only gonna say this. No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
I am very excited about that.
I'm willing to until the first episode is over and it makes me want to scoop my eyeballs out with a spoon and pour lighter fluid into the sockets and set my brain on fire. Until that happens, I will look forward to it because Anson Mount makes a good Captain Pike. How about that?
Some people in the live chat reminded me of this, and of course, I have a most anticipated show this year, and I totally forgot about Lord of the Rings. That's the one that is easily my most anticipated. I mean, there's a number of other things too. Like obviously, you've got some of the Disney Plus things. You got Moon Knight, you got Obi-Wan. I mean, yeah, it's for me, it's the Lord of the Rings series.
Oh, I got a good idea.
Moon Knight, I'm very excited for, obviously.
Well, obviously,
yeah.
yeah. You be the Moon
I
Knight
have
guy.
a good idea.
What's that?
When Lord of the Rings starts,
Yes.
we watch it when it's released, and we make onion rings, and that's it.
Oh, Lord of the Rings,
Just with
onion rings.
That's it. Come on.
I like it. I like it. There we go. You know, when the Academy Awards were on, Ann and I used to do a big Oscar party every year, and Ann would make food themed to the nominees. So the year that Winter's Bone, Jennifer Lawrence's movie came out.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Ann
that.
made Winter's Boneless Wings. It was one of the best things she'd ever done for those Oscar parties. All right, sorry. There's still more questions to go. What's next?
Film Chris sends in a $22
Oh,
super
thank you,
chat.
Film Chris.
Thank you. So Norway pushed back No Way Home another 2 weeks.
Ugh.
So 2 days ago, I just said, fuck it. I took a bus to Sweden and saw it.
Wow.
5-hour bus ride both ways, but I didn't care. Was it worth it? Yes, it was.
All right.
Absolutely
Okay.
loved it.
First of all, Film Chris, we, your
Wow,
film-loving
Film.
brothers and sisters across the world, salute you. That is some testicular fortitude of going that extra
What do you say?
5
5 hours?
Yeah, 5 hours each way.
Wow.
Well, I
Each
know
way.
some people in this room would travel to watch a movie. I don't know who it would be.
Yeah. I drove.
To Vegas, right?
Well, number one, there was Vegas. So I hadn't seen a movie in theater in like 5 months, and then New Mutants. The theaters opened in Nevada, not in California, and so New Mutants came out, and me and Soul, we got in the car and we drove to Vegas, watched New Mutants, got back in the car and drove home. But that's not the longest trip I ever made for watching a movie. The longest trip I ever made for watching a movie was about 2,000 miles. I drove back to Hamilton, Ontario, Canada when The Phantom Menace came out.
Ooh.
So I could watch it, the first new Star Wars movie, on in my favorite movie theater. I drove about 2,000 miles.
You got me beat. I flew from Seattle to LA to see Star Trek 4 The Voyage Home at the Motion Picture Academy Theater.
Did you not go to the UK to watch a James Bond movie at some
Oh,
point?
you know what? I did.
Yes.
Now that I think about it, you're correct, sir. I got you beat then.
Yes, you
in
do.
2012, I flew to England to see Skyfall because it opened 2 weeks in advance in the UK.
Oh my God.
I flew to London.
guys are freaks.
I went and saw it at the Odeon Theater in Leicester Square. See, I'm glad you remind me of these things. I'm getting older. I forget. That is true. Charlie de Lazarica went with me. My friend Terrier came down with his then wife, Julie. And from Norway, they came from Norway to the UK, and we saw Skyfall.
I just want to ask though, did you like it?
I was disappointed by it.
See, that's the worst thing ever. It doesn't matter if you're walking like
I tried to convince
down the
myself
street
that I loved it.
or flying across the country. Please like the movie.
But it doesn't matter because it was so much fun going to the UK. And
I drove
John
36
Campea remembers
hours.
I did that.
Yeah, I did. I remember you did. I drove 36 hours.
See, that's longer than it took me to
right,
get
but you
to.
went further. You went to an entirely different country.
It's true.
So I think you get the win.
But you
on
were
that.
in an entirely different country.
That's true. That is also true. All right, what's next?
Mark Gorman says, The Boys Season 3. Yeah, bring it on. I wanted to give it a good Howard Dean. Yeah. Loved Anthony Starr ever since the equally fantastic, underrated gem Banshee.
Yeah, everybody talks about him in Banshee, but like really where everybody's recognized him is as Homelander. And listen, while of course I would have liked to have Tom Degnan who had gotten the role, what Starr has brought to this role is amazing. He has been perfect in the role, and he's one of the most watchable characters on television as a result. All right, what's next?
Wait a minute. Can I give a shout out for the Howard Dean reference you just pulled off? I actually went to a Howard Dean fundraiser I paid to go see.
What a meltdown that was.
That was an amazing reference you just pulled out.
Thanks,
wow.
man. Thanks.
Very
Shout out to
there.
Kimberly.
Say what you want about the man, but he can scream.
All right, what's next?
Colby says, Scream open spoiler discussion coming soon. Bring on the filthy.
Listen, I can tell you the open spoiler discussion right now. Here's all the spoilers for it. Couple more kids put on the mask. They start doing the stabby. At some point, they figure out who the kids are, and they stop them.
Oh wow, we're not seeing this movie.
Now
with
you
John.
don't have to see the
We're
movie
not seeing
now.
this movie with John now. He's gonna be one of those guys like already dated.
I think it's one of the legacy characters.
It probably is. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
let me add into the TV series Halo, baby. I'm the only one I know.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm the only
it's
one,
coming.
but Halo, baby.
I'll tell you what. This is how much Ray's looking forward to Halo. Okay, the day of the Game Awards, Ray was like, Ray is modestly interested in the Game Awards, but he's like, all day, I'm coming overnight. We're gonna barbecue. We're gonna do all this. It was all because they were gonna be showing the first trailer for the Halo series,
And
he
boy.
made a whole event out of it.
And boy, what happened there?
All right, what's next?
All right, Casey Mack says, I don't know if you can take toys seriously of what happens in the movie. I'm pretty sure No Way Home had a scorpion type toy to promote the movie.
No, listen, there have been, I've pointed this out myself several times. There have been a couple of instances. The most notably to me is that Justice League one, when a toy's come out and clearly was not connected in any way, shape, or form to the thing. However, we just had No Way Home, and there were a lot of toy things that we talked about here, and they were all accurate. We've seen that for a lot of movies. So yes, sometimes they're not, and you got to keep that in mind. But just because there have been a couple of instances when they weren't, doesn't mean you can discount it altogether. It means you got to take it with a little bit of grain of salt, though. And just keep in mind that it is possible it has nothing to do with it, but it looks pretty serious. But we'll see. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
Advait Joshi says, ever watched a Bollywood movie? Love from India.
We've talked about Bollywood movies on like the old AMC. We even created, I kid you not, back in the AMC days, when we were doing Movie Talk and Heroes and Jedi Council, I flew out to Kansas City to meet with the AMC leadership because we had this idea of actually doing a full AMC Bollywood show.
Oh, wow.
Because we had started showing a lot of Bollywood films in some of the smaller AMC theaters. And I had worked on this for a couple of months. We had full budget lines put out about, we were going to do a casting call. I was going to find, obviously I'm not the person to host a Bollywood movie show, but we were going to find 2 hosts for it. I was looking for a producer to work with me on it, to put it all together. And we were actually pretty far into the process. We'd even gotten budget approvals on a few things, and then it just kind of fell apart. The support for it kind of fell out. But I don't watch a lot of Bollywood movies. Don't get me wrong. But yeah,
I got one. I got one you should watch.
What's that?
It's a Bollywood sports movie.
Oh,
Lagan. It's about cricket.
Ooh.
oh,
You got it. It's really, really good. You can get it. I think Columbia put it out. And there's an awesome science fiction movie you got to watch called Robot.
see, there was
Eric.
where we were at the AMC Burbank 16. Within 5-minute walk, not kidding, it was all in the same block. There were 2 other AMC theaters, the AMC 8 and the AMC 6. And the AMC 6 had a dedicated screen on it, only showing Bollywood films.
Nice.
And Schnepp and I, every once in a while, we would just go walk over and see what was there too. But I am by no means in any way, shape, or form a Bollywood aficionado. I'm not. But we did come close to making that show once.
I just want to point out that Elizabeth was texting me just now saying, John's been this successful in 4 years. What's your problem? How come you're not working hard enough? Come on.
Oh no.
I just want to say, a lot of guys' girlfriends look at me and say that to their man. Just want to. No, you're not alone, Rob. You're not alone. That is complete fantasy that I just made up. That is complete and utter fantasy that I just
This
made
is not fantasy.
up. All right, what's next?
Mr. Coolbreeze69 says, "Hi, John, Ray, Kim, and Rob. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Holidays are over, and I can enjoy the show live again on my Fridays off. Last weekend?
It's the last week to wish you all a
thank
happy
you.
New
Last
Year.
week to wish you all. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that, man. And yeah, it is funny because the four of us, we went out to lunch yesterday. The four of us all went after the show was done. We all went and had lunch, and we were talking about some pretty exciting things. We're looking forward to this year. This is going to be a very exciting year, I think. And I can't wait to share with you guys some of the stuff that we're working on and everything, but it's going to be a pretty exciting year for us. So thank you, Mr. Cool Breeze, for being here.
I can share an idea that was shot down yesterday.
Oh, what was that?
My McDonald's McRib documentary.
Oh, that's right.
It's going to be called McRib.
He's not
What
lying.
is
He
it?
did.
What is it?
McRib. What is it? It's so good.
Hey, we were pitching around some ideas for documentaries yesterday, and Ray's like, "What? No, like, do you ever what's actually in a McRib? It's my favorite thing they've ever done. I don't know what's in it." So yeah, that one thing you won't be seeing coming to the John Campea or the Carson Drive Media's portfolio this year is the McRib. What is it? All right, what's next?
Fanimator says, "Which of these three have you seen, and what do you think of them? The Social Network, The Namesake, and The Truman Show."
Which one was The Namesake again? Is that the Irish film?
I don't think I've seen The Namesake.
But anyway, Truman Show. There was already like a couple of other things, but I think the Truman Show is the one we were talking about this the other day. That Jim Carrey, everybody went like, no, he's legit. Carrey's legit. He can do this stuff. There was a couple of other films like Eternal Sunshine and wait, Eternal Sunshine came out before Truman Show, yes? Or did
No,
Truman
I
Show
don't
come
think
first?
it did. I think Truman Show
Okay,
came
so Truman
first.
Show was the one that made people go, oh, with Jim
Yeah.
Carrey. And Social Network, well, Rob, I mean, we talk about it. It's one of Rob's favorite
I
films.
love The Social Network. It's one of those movies I could watch every day. I could. I love that film so much.
I mean, it's first of all, I think Andrew Garfield should have gotten an Academy Award nomination for that film.
I'm coming back for everything.
Everything. God, he's the humanity of that movie. But one of my favorite lines in movies
You better lawyer up.
was from that movie. And it's a little awkward to talk about these days because it's Army Hammer. And I might be getting the numbers wrong, but the numbers aren't the point. He's like, bring it on. I'm 6'2", 230 pounds, and there's two of me.
That was my
One
favorite
of my
line.
favorite lines. I love that line. And I kid you not, it was like that was my first exposure to Army Hammer at the time. But I remember I thought that was twins playing the role. I didn't know until like a day or two later. Oh, no.
Yeah.
That was the same guy playing both roles. I'm like,
And Dakota Johnson as
Oh,
Sean
yeah,
Parker's
yeah.
One Night Stand. Can I use your laptop? What is this you have open?
by the way,
Facebook.
I'm not going to say who, but somebody who has worked for me. What was the twins again? The
Winklevoss.
Winklevosses.
Winklevi.
Yeah, the Winklevi. Somebody who worked for me dated one of the Winklevosses.
Wow.
I won't say who. I won't engage in any speculation from anybody. I'm just saying, but that's just kind of a funny thing.
It was me.
Not Army
No, just
Hammer.
kidding.
Not Army Hammer. All right.
Did they? The
No, I'm answering no
the
questions.
Winklevi have done quite well for themselves.
They have. They're quite wealthy and quite
Yeah.
rich. A lot of that they got from settlement with Mark Zuckerberg. All right, what's next?
TR Noir says, "Sleepwalker could manifest in the real world when his human persona went to sleep. I always wanted to see him on screen. This makes me excited."
I mean, if it's what they're doing, and it could open a whole new world of things for what they're doing. Again, Doctor Strange is one of those properties you can go even more bonkers than you can in other properties. So it's gonna be interesting to see how far they go.
Can you imagine if Doctor Strange actually sang "Whole New World"? You could
No.
license
I
the
will never
song.
imagine that.
All right, what's next?
Veriton003 sends in a $20 super
Thank you,
chat.
Veriton.
Thank you. These picks are from the Hasbro line, and they normally take opportunities to drop in related comic book characters into their movie lines. Think the Moreland figure in the Hasbro No Way Home line.
Well, of course, I have a little familiarity with Hasbro and worked with Hasbro for a long time. Hold on, let me just bring this up here. Hold a second.
Sometimes I gotta say, like with the Hasbro figures, like if you just look at them, if they look more comic booky, then most likely they're not in the movie. Like the ones that actually have like detail in the faces, there's a better chance for them to be in the film than the ones that, well, at least two of the ones that we saw today, I don't think are in the film.
So here's the thing in question. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold a second. Here's the thing in question as I bring it down here. And I cannot get it. There we go. Oh, I had it for a second. There we go. Okay, so here's the thing in question. This is the group that we see. Of course, we see Wong, Mordo with the hair. We see America Chavez in there. This is the collection they have. So they have the one Doctor Strange. They also have Astral Plane Doctor Strange. So clearly we're going to see Doctor Strange in his astral form. Then we've got Wong, Mordo with the hair, America Chavez, plus the other characters in question. So, I mean, again, we'll have to wait and see.
I'll say the two in the back, Despair and Sleepwalker aren't in the film.
You're going to guess they're not in
out
there.
of looking at them, I just don't think they're in.
Or in that form.
In that form.
Because Despair was portrayed in Cloak and Dagger as a human being.
But the rest look good. The rest you could probably bet are in the film.
So,
sure.
yeah, so we'll see. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
Mr. Coolbreeze69 says, hey all, when I say last week, I meant first week in January is the cutoff date. In my opinion, what's your cutoff date?
I cannot remember what the topic is.
The topic was when to say Happy New Year. Like, would you say it the third week of February? Yeah, Happy New Year. Like, when's your cutoff date?
Oh.
I would probably, if it's somebody I hadn't seen or talked to in a bit, I might up maybe mid-January. Maybe if it's somebody that I see fairly frequently, but I haven't seen them since the New Year, I might still then say Happy New Year to you, but not much more beyond that.
I wouldn't either. By the way, I just want to point something out.
Uh-huh.
I did not want to make and say that I didn't have the support I have at home that you have. I do, because I wouldn't be on YouTube myself if Elizabeth didn't buy me a microphone. She bought me my first microphone, and she said, it's time for you to do your own show.
That's awesome.
I wanted to clarify that I was being self-deprecating, that I wasn't working too hard, not that she was making me feel like I wasn't working
That's
too
a good
hard.
save, Rob.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good save.
Was it a
You
good one?
get you get
But
to
she
go
did.
in
She
the house
bought me a
tonight.
microphone.
Elizabeth's
She bought me
a
my
good woman,
birthday,
man.
gave it to me for Christmas.
Elizabeth's
Behind
a
every
good
great
woman.
man.
All right, what's next?
All right, Marie Seifring says, Wait Until Dark is a great film.
It's
a
really
classic, really worth looking for.
It's also pretty scary.
Really?
Yeah.
You- All right. Well, thank you, Marie. What's next?
John Farag says, favorite streaming service, H Bro Max.
Oh,
Bro Time, Broflix, Disney Bro. Couldn't do the Peacock one. It was too filthy.
Brocock. Yeah. I mean, look, I know it's been around for a while. And by the way, I am appreciating Peacock. I'm watching Peacock more and more lately, actually. It's a good streaming service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got some good stuff.
I
in there.
still hate the name. It's such a stupid name. But Peacock has been a symbol. I don't give a fuck. It's still a stupid name.
It's got to be called, I got one, Universal Plus.
I mean, hey, why not? At least look, it tells the audience what it is.
No.
And you got Apple TV Plus.
Cock Max.
That's
What?
okay. What's next?
Y'all foul. Cutter Hale says, at the theater 45 minutes into 355, and this movie is freaking awful. I'm going to finish it, but there's shaky cam and the writing sucks. Skip it.
Wait a minute. They're in the theater texting us.
No, I'm
Can't be on
hoping.
your phone in the theater.
I'm hoping you got up, walked out of the theater to go use the bathroom or something, and while out there you texted. Don't be pulling out your phone in the theater, Cutter. Don't be that guy. All right, what's next?
Nikita Mohanan says Rooney Mara is way too underrated than she deserves to be, which
Yes.
is right at the top, especially with high caliber directors like Fincher and Del Toro who have so much faith in her.
No, see, that's a really good point. Like because this is something I talked a lot about with Robert Pattinson. Look at the directors who are lining up to work with him. And like, you're right, Rooney Mara, you got these caliber directors who work with her. She should be getting more respect. And hopefully in the next coming years, she's going to get it. By the way, I want to see Kate reemerge a little bit more too.
Yeah.
I loved her in House of Cards.
Plus, you know what? Rooney Mara, in terms of Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, man, she threw herself into that role.
She really did.
She really, I mean, that was a transformative role for her, and she didn't get enough credit.
All right, what's next?
Well, she did get a nomination, I guess.
Yeah.
KH sends in a $20 super chat.
Thank you,
Thank you
KH.
for the support. Finished my GMAT 10 minutes ago and aced it.
Nice.
Also, thanks for getting me to love the cinemas. I was never the type to watch movies in cinemas, but yesterday my friends and I were laughing our asses off at The Kingsman.
Probably for all the wrong reasons. I mean, yeah. First of all, again, it's a topic that comes up all the time. And don't get me wrong, Ann and I like being at home and, getting some food and popping on the TV. We have a great TV and nice sound system and everything, and we enjoy it. But it's nothing compared to the movie theater.
No.
It's nothing compared to the movie theater. And that's where the magic of movies happens, is being in the event in that room surrounded by other people. And it becomes a shared communal experience. The way they're meant to be seen, nothing compares to it.
Well,
Rob.
what you did when you rented out the theater and had fans come out, we all saw Spider-Man No Way Home together.
yeah.
How much fun was that?
It's so great.
I mean, that whole audience hearing Ray and Ann cackle when the grandma was speaking
Tagalog.
Tagalog.
That it's just the way to go. Anyway, I'm glad, and thanks for the support, Cage. Really appreciate that, man. All right, what's next?
And lastly, we have a super chat from Jason Nelson. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, for sending that in. Okay, guys. And now as we start to round into hour number 3, we're going to start going over and taking the tip questions that you guys have been sending in. But before we do, we're going to give ourselves just a couple of minute break here. Give us 3 minutes or so. We're going to stretch our legs, refill our drinks, give you guys a chance to talk amongst yourselves, run, grab something to eat, whatever you're going to do. So hold on tight, guys. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And we are back. Thank you so much for your patience and indulgence. We took a little bit of a break there. Now we're going to head on over and start taking the comments and questions that you guys sent in via the tip link for those of you guys who weren't watching live. Let's get over to those right now. Kim, what do we've got up here first?
Uk Ramos says, I found you at AMC. It helped me de-stress in law school and having kids.
Nice.
My wife is Russian and we spoke it at home, so listening helped her with English during dishes.
I am the best person for people to learn English from.
As an attorney, I enjoy your legal explanations. Good work. May the force be with you.
Oh, thank you.
That's really cool.
Uk Ramos, I appreciate that very much. I like hearing from people who have who are in the legal field, legal background. Of course, that's the field I was working in before. You know, some friends of mine had what they call the intervention with me and convinced me to quit my job and start doing my movie blog that I had at the time full time. And that's what I was doing. So thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate that. Good to have you here. All right, what's next?
JJ Judd says, first, I adopted a child that couldn't speak. And yes, basic hand language is that ugly, but it does get the point across. Second, at the end of January, I'm moving to LA.
Nice.
Woo, woo. Love having Kim and Ray. Been watching for over 10 years. Don't message much.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Jay. And listen, as somebody who made the move to LA, like it wasn't shocking to me in the sense that, I've lived in big towns. Like Toronto is the third biggest city in North America. Hamilton has a population of about 1 million people now. But it was East Coast to West Coast, Canadian culture to American culture. Being in LA is unlike a lot of other American cities. It's a little bit different. But listen, it's also going to be a lot of fun and exciting, great weather, the beaches, all that kind of stuff. I hope you enjoy your move, dude. All right, what's next?
J Meister 25 says, of the 9 MCU titles released in 2021, the average Rotten Tomatoes score results in a 91.86% approval rating with 2,015 total votes. This is 2.77 higher than all Phase 3. So when you say that the MCU has dropped in quality, I have to raise my eyebrow.
Except for one thing, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of how Rotten Tomatoes works. Rotten Tomatoes, and this is why I like it so much, is a simple, giving you a percentage of people said, yes, I like it, or no, I don't. That's all it is. That's why I like it so much. It's the purity of that. It is simply, did you like it, or did you not? And if you ask me, did I like Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Yes, I did. I'm one of the thumbs up people.
Me too.
When you ask me, did I like Loki? Yes, I'm one of the thumbs up people. If you ask me, did I like Black Widow? Yeah, I'm also one of the thumbs up people. But I didn't like those nearly as much as I'm accustomed to liking MCU content. I'm accustomed to liking them a lot more. And like I said, out of the last 8 MCU projects, I've only loved 3 of them. And I'm just not used to that average. The average is usually 7 out of 8 I absolutely loved. And yeah, I feel that percentage is coming down now. So yeah, I still liked Black Widow. I still liked Falcon Winter Soldier. I still liked Loki. Didn't really like Hawkeye. But again, I only loved WandaVision, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, No Way Home. And that's only 3 out of 8. Again, for any other studio, that's great. But it's less than what I am accustomed to when it comes to the MCU. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I completely agree with you too. I mean, also what I also think is is something entertaining? Did you enjoy it? Like we've been talking about. I loved Eternals. I enjoyed it for a lot of specific reasons for me personally that I liked it. And going all the way back to things like Ancient Astronauts, I understand why a lot of people didn't, but it's really interesting. People expect these movies to what? Change their lives? They're movies.
All right, next up.
Anonymous says, Arcane is sensational.
Oh, absolutely.
Best movie or show I saw in 2021. One of the best shows I've ever seen. I've driven my household crazy talking about it nonstop. Episode 3 and 9 destroy me. Seen it 3 times. Want to see it a 4th. Have Kim, Ray, or Rob seen it and their thoughts?
That's a good, first of all, yeah, Arcane came out of nowhere, a show I had no interest in, and it is now my number 1 favorite animated show of all time. I that's how good I think it is. Rob, I don't think we've discussed it. Did you watch
No, it's
Arcane?
an amazing show. Look, I'm in a position where people say, well, you're working on, because Dota and Arcane, which is League of Legends, and people are like, well, and I'm like, look, we have a cell animated show with a CG assist, whereas Arcane is a different kind of a show, and it's a great show. It's phenomenal. But I'm surprised, actually not surprised, I'm surprised they got that great of a show out of League of Legends as their inspiration source material.
Because it's really has nothing to do with the game at all.
But it's it's extremely well done.
Ray, I can't remember. Did you have a chance to try watching Arcane at all?
No, not yet.
You got to watch it, man.
I do. I mean, you said you get hooked in the first 5 minutes, and I kind of watched the first 5 minutes, but I was doing something and completely forgot about it. So yeah, I'll go back to. No, I was actually, I must. Anytime I watch something, it's when I'm doing work. So, I must have got busy with something, and I just said I need to give this my full attention. Like some shows, like Invasion, I left on because it's easy to work when nothing's happening. But Arcane, Arcane, I said I'm gonna stop it and watch it with full attention.
You got to get on that, man. What about you, Kim?
I watched it and loved it. Watched it and loved it.
It's so good. All right, what's next?
Anthony F. tips in 20. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
I'm curious to know your opinion on Disney's insistence to not make Star Wars movies
Insistence
to not make Star Wars movies after all the money spent acquiring it. Can you or Rob think of any other studio with so many public and consistent failures to start projects?
I'm not quite sure what it is he's asking.
Well, I mean, okay, so they've made 5 Star Wars movies. Disney has. Force Awakens made $2 billion.
And it's still the number, I think, the highest grossing domestic film of all time.
Last Jedi grossed $1.3 billion. Rise of Skywalker grossed $1 billion. Rogue One grossed over $1 billion. That is not unsuccessful.
No, not in the least.
And then Solo admittedly made like $300 million.
Never should have made that movie, but I liked it.
But the thing is, if you look at those movies, those are 5 movies. And if you average out how much those movies made, that is not a failure. Now, we might not have liked them. I think Rise of Skywalker is one of the great crimes of all time against cinema. But that doesn't mean it was a failure. And then the TV shows, Mandalorian drove subscribers to Disney Plus like no other show before it. So I would say that ultimately you have to understand that money is the big indicator here. They're making a product that costs money or that makes money, and they've been making money.
Yeah, and now everybody's buzzing about Obi-Wan. Thankfully, I thought Boba Fett turned it around with episode 2 because I wasn't a fan of episode 1, but the episode 2 got me on board. So but look, they don't have an insistence of not making movies. Like let's not pretend like they haven't put out a feature film in 10 years. I mean, we had The Rise of Skywalker, which is terrible, but they had The Rise of Skywalker, made over $1 billion, and then immediately after that, the pandemic hit. And so they've been slow to get their motion pictures going, but it's only been a very short window of time, so I wouldn't read anything into that. All right, what's next?
Fanimator says, I just saw your Ewok monologue from my question the other day. While I love episode 6, I put Empire above it because it's very unexpected, filled with plot twists and thrilling sequences, very well paced and well written, and a very emotional experience for me.
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say the vast majority of Star Wars fans, the number one film to the most people is Empire. And for good reason. It's awesome. For me, the original 3 Star Wars movies are really 1A, 1B, and 1C. I mean, and honestly, I look at them all as one movie. I do. I just look at the original trilogy of the movie. But if I had to say, my favorite one is Return of the Jedi for all the reasons that I gave there. But yeah, you're not alone, man, about Empire. I think that is the de facto choice amongst most people, and for good reason. All right, what's next?
Okay, this comes from Dennis the Menace. Hello, John and crew. What I would call a historic movie month. December has got me thinking again about the infamous Martin Scorsese viewpoint that big Marvel movies just aren't cinema. Although I disagree with him as incredible movies like No Way Home and West Side Story are both cinema in their own right. Maybe a more fruitful way of framing the debate would not be cinema versus non-cinema, but rather entertainment versus art. Do you think this is still a false dichotomy? Or Can there be a distinction between movies made mainly for a fun time at the theater, more in line with entertainment, and movies made mainly for enlightening commentary, more in line with art?
No,
Thanks.
and listen, it's not a debate anymore. Martin Scorsese was wrong. Martin Scorsese was wrong. And we've moved on from the debate. It's not a debate anymore. Movies are experiential events. Period. Raging Bull is an experiential event. Doctor Strange is an experiential event. Goodfellas is an experiential event. All movies are designed to give the audience an experience. Different kinds of experiences. You know, the experience that Scream is trying to give you is a different experience than Schindler's List is trying to give you. But either way, you're walking out of the theater having had an experience. And just because you give one kind of an experience with the types of movies you do, and even if you do them amongst the greatest who have ever done it, doesn't mean other movies that are giving different kinds of experiences, but experiences nonetheless, are any way should be defined as less than. They're different, for sure. Goodfellas is different from Ant-Man. Absolutely. But people go into movies for an experience. And just because they're different than yours, there's no debate to be had. It's a false dichotomy. Entertainment versus art is a false bullshit dichotomy made up by people who want to make themselves think they look smart. There is no difference. So, yeah, I'll put the kibosh on that right now. Anyway, brought up, Dennis. Well brought up. All right, what's next?
Fanimator says, if you had to bring one series of films to a desert island, which would you choose? Pixar or the MCU? Be careful what you say about the biggest Pixar fan, me, John, or I'll ask Chef Pleasures to make another batch of ketchup on eggs.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I said for years that Pixar was not just the best animation studio. I believe for years they were the best movie making studio, period. Because Rob, you and I remember we went down, this is probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. We went down like all the Pixar movies. There was a stretch where 6 out of 7 years, the number one critically rated films of the year were Pixar films. It's crazy. They just do nothing but excellence. Now, I don't know that today I still think of them as the best overall movie studio, but I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. If I had to bring one series of franchise to a desert island, I'm bringing the Star Wars movies. I don't care. Like, I'll just watch the original trilogy, Rogue One, Force Awakens, and let the others just kind of get buried in the dust and the sand. So that's probably it. But it is not a wrong answer to bring the Pixar films with you, because those are immensely fantastic. Rob, if you had to bring one franchise with you,
well, I was only given a choice of two with the question. Pixar, I would have to go Marvel, if only because I'd be stuck on a desert island. I'd want to see real people.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's not like those Tony Stark's a real guy. He's not CG. But no, I think I'd probably take Marvel only because I'd have to watch like Cars 2. And I don't want to do that.
Well, you could also watch Iron Man 2.
But I mean, Cars being talking. If I was on a desert island, I don't think it would make. You know, what would
That's a very good argument.
Up would make me happy.
Oh, Up's so good.
You know, Coco would make me happy.
Yeah.
And the Toy Story movies would, and I love Incredibles, and I love Bugs Life, and you know.
All right, what's next?
Brian Hepburn says, I died with Leia was wearing the clothes of a murdered and eaten woman. $5 for you.
It's true. The woman who was wearing that dress just a few days ago, her and her family of 6, all murdered and eaten. And the clothes were the leftovers. It was a trophy.
And they weren't Imperials, so they were probably just vacationing on Endor, thinking they were going to have a really nice time.
Oh, by the way, there may be some indigenous life on that world either way, they found somebody, killed them, and had their clothes hanging around.
I mean, which makes it even more terrifying that when you go on Star Tours in Disneyland, they have posters for Endor. Come visit beautiful Endor.
The gorgeous moon of Endor. Just, stay in the green area. Stay in the green area. All right, what's next?
Dr. Nova says, first 2 movies this year are Tick, Tick, Boom, which makes me realize that Andrew Garfield is someone I need to watch more, and Peter Cushing's Hound of the Baskerville, which makes me want to abandon Sherlock Holmes and just watch his movies.
Oh, listen, I'll tell you what. Tick, Tick, Boom We talked about it a number of times here. Such a pleasant
Wait, I'm sorry,
surprise.
John. What show?
no,
What was it called? What was it called?
Tick, tick, boom.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, again, I just keep going. Ann had it on the TV the other day. Remember where you came over and Ann had it on there?
Oh,
so
yeah.
so she's had it on the last couple of days, rewatching it again. It's like I forget just how special that movie is. By the way, breaking news. Not surprising, but I just got directly from Disney. Not surprising, given that we just had Morbius delayed.
Oh, no.
And whatever.
Oh boy.
No.
And speaking of Pixar, Turning Red is now going to be a Disney Plus exclusive.
Oh.
It is bypassing theaters. It's going to go on March 11th.
And that movie looks great.
It looks so
really
damn
cute.
good.
It looks great.
And you know, I'm really wondering because we heard a lot of stories that the team at Pixar was infuriated and really upset with the fact that Soul and Luca got dumped on Disney Plus. Like there were, it wasn't just, I mean, it was like the legitimate trades reporting. There was a lot of unrest and unhappiness amongst the teams at Pixar over that. I wonder how they're feeling about this.
I loved Soul.
Soul was really good.
Was Turning Red like the next up movie for Disney?
Yeah. The next
release?
pick, yeah.
Oh, so just never mind. I thought they just picked it out of like the whole group that's coming out. So it was really their next release, Pixar
Yeah.
and Disney.
Yeah, but I got a feeling it's I think the
domino
pandemic.
effect.
I mean, here's the thing, right? The pandemic right now in California, we are at yesterday had the most new cases. I think it was like 86,000
Of all. Since
the beginning of the pandemic. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the biggest ever. The biggest ever. I remember just on December 17th, when the day Spider-Man 2 came out, it was 6,000 new cases. Yesterday was 86,000 new cases.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I get it. Disney's looking at that and saying, well, we're just going to take it and put it on Disney Plus.
I mean, I can understand, the people at Pixar are making movies. The whole point of them is they're making movies for a theatrical experience.
Yeah.
And then to be working on them and working on those movies take years to make. And then you find out they're not going to be in the theater.
The problem I would have is, let's say they shift this one to Disney Plus, but the next movie, let's say if it's Doctor Strange, that doesn't go on Disney Plus. Like, why would they choose one? I get
Well,
it,
it
but
could be day and date. I mean, hopefully, like with South Africa, the Omicron variant cases will burn themselves out quickly.
And with the amount of people who are vaccinated now not being in their serious ICUs, and hopefully this will be passed a lot faster. Anyway, well, I'm sure we'll touch on this a little bit more on Monday when that comes out. But I just got the notification on that, wanted to share it with you guys. All right, we got time for just a couple more. What's next?
Ethan Holgate says, "Hi, John. Your explanation on the evilness of the Ewoks made me think of the genius Family Guy parody Star Wars joke where Quagmire C-3PO says to the Ewoks, 'Oh my God, they're adorable.' Then the Ewoks go, 'Oh, good guy, good guy, good guy,' when they're not."
I don't remember that moment. I've seen all the Family Guy Star Wars stuff. I probably saw this. I don't remember that one at all. But by the way, what was the name of the Family Guy special? The Family Guy Star Wars special.
oh yeah, I remember
It was
one that was on.
Blue Harvest. It was Blue Harvest. That's what it was. Oh my God, I love
Terror
that.
beyond imagining.
All right, what's next?
My name, Jeff, says, "Hey, all.
Jeff.
Ever since Wonder Woman DCEU movies have this cinematic opening logo with Batman, Flash, etc., but Joker did not. Do you think the Batman doesn't have that logo either? Is this their way to separate the universe from the stand-alone movies?"
Well, I
Thanks.
mean, the way you separate movies out is not by a 7-second little intro thing that plays in front of it. But you're right. They didn't. And I think part of the reason they didn't want to confuse this is not a part of the DCEU.
Right.
Right? They did that with Joker. You know what, Rob? That's a really good question. When we go in to see the Batman, are they going to play that little DC opener? I'm going to guess no. I
Logo
hadn't even
watch.
thought about it. Yeah, opening watch. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to guess they won't, like you're saying, probably as a symbolic way of representing, the Wonder Woman, Shazam, Flash universe. That's this is this. I don't know, Rob, what do you think? Are they going to play that opening?
It's a really good question. I would assume that they'll have some kind of opening of because it is, after all, the Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, he is one of the if not the, I mean, Superman and Batman are the most iconic superheroes, I think, of all.
Yeah. Okay, it'll be interesting to see. All right, what's next?
Darren Barnes says, Cineworld's secret screening was Belfast. Wow, such an honest and sweet film.
It was so good.
And beautifully directed. I've never seen that normally. So glad for these secret showings. I live in Middle England and have a Tim Hortons 10 minutes
There's
away.
a Tim Hortons in England?
HNY and love to all.
Oh, that is awesome to hear.
baby.
By the way, I love that thing Cineworld does, the secret screenings.
Yeah.
I love that, and I love that Belfast.
Wait. So what's the thing? You just buy a ticket, you don't know what you're seeing until you sit down? And
I think
it
so,
comes
yeah.
on? And you just take that chance? Or is it the tickets like really cheap?
I
free?
I don't know, but I think sometimes they've even played movies like early. So you go. So sometimes it might be a classic. Sometimes it might be one of the new ones. Sometimes it one that they're actually getting to show a little bit earlier than they do. I mean,
I do that every week
So it's
if
like
I
a
have that.
mystery
Oh man, I would too.
I do that all the time.
I would go.
It's like a blind box. Mystery
so-
box.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. She says. All right, last question of the day. What's next?
Baby Boy 8603 says, "Hey John and crew, we know in a couple years physical media will most likely be gone. With all the streaming services and other studios starting a streaming network, what's the point of purchasing digital media from maybe the iTunes store or Google Play store, etc.? For example, why purchase a Marvel/Disney movie if I know it will be on Disney Plus? Will digital media take a dive later on down the line? Thanks for all you do."
Listen, so we're kind of bypassing right now the whole discussion about the disappearance of physical media. That moves on to the next part of evolution about the disappearing of just individual things you just buy, even digitally. The way the studios want to do it, and I don't like it. All right, I don't like it. But they want it that if you want to watch a movie, you got to be a subscriber to their service to watch the movie. I mean, listen, that's really not all that different from not too awful long ago, where if you wanted to watch Cheers, you had to have cable television, you had to have television, and you had to watch NBC to watch it, right? That's the way it was. And I think that's the direction they're wanting to go in. Now, I still think we're a little further away from that happening than we are from, say, the disappearance of physical media. But I think ultimately that's where we're going towards that too. I really do. Rob, what do you think about all that?
Oh boy, I've got a lot to say about this, but I won't. I mean, I'll spare you. But yes, physical media is going to go away. It's going to go away, and the ownership of movies are going to be of paramount importance to all of these streamers. Owning the content is what makes your streaming service something that somebody wants to subscribe to. I do think that there'll be niche places where you'll be able to download movies at some point. Like there's just cult films or things like that, maybe, but eventually that too will go away. And it's just the future.
Do you think, Rob, sorry to interrupt, but do you think it'll get to the point where, because I still like buying Blu-rays too. Like, do you think it'll be just like one of those things where it's made to order? Or would that be too expensive?
I think they're not going to do it at all. I think eventually that we're vestiges of a different time, a different era. Eventually people aren't going to, the idea of collecting movies, like, why would you do that? They're all available. The thing that I worry about is that based on cultural norms, what if somebody decides like a movie, A Clockwork Orange, isn't appropriate anymore? What if our culture decides, or censorship or whatever, that films are suppressed? Oh, Gone with the Wind is no longer culturally appropriate, so we're not going to make it available. And our cinematic history is erased. That's the thing that I would be afraid of. Yeah. Hopefully that won't happen.
I understand.
And I'm seeing a few people in the live chat saying things like, physical media is not going anywhere. Well, to your point, talking about Ray, you're saying you still like to buy Blu-rays. Here's the thing. More and more companies aren't making the players anymore.
Right. Well, for me,
so it's like even getting machines that will play these things are slowly starting to be phased out and going away.
Oppo, one of my favorite disc maker that made the players,
yep,
they discontinued. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox X series have extended the life of physical media, maybe out about a decade. But after that,
well, they're even making versions of them now that they come without discs. Yeah. They come without disc players too, and that's just the way it's all going.
The fact is, the world's changing. I mean, how many people buy CDs anymore?
Oh yeah.
I still do. But
oh, you do? Oh man, I dropped those.
As a collector, I'll buy soundtrack CDs or special editions of things like Iron Maiden's new record. I got a great. Yeah. But
All right, guys. that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Now, there are still more questions to come. Don't worry, guys. We'll get all caught up on those. They're still there. We got them. We'll get those answered here soon enough. But that runs out of our time for today for the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so much for being here and making this show part of your day. We are so honored that you do. Special thank you to all you guys who sent in the comments and questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the John Campea Show, thank you guys so very much for your support. I also want to thank Kimberly Curran, who is here. Kimberly, where can people follow you online?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram at wasgoodkimberly, and I hope you have a good weekend.
Right beside her, Ray Ora.
I just want to say to the chat, have a good weekend. I got that imposter. He's done. You can find me at Ray Ora with a 0.
And of course, right over there, Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, well, that was the completion of your first week back on the show, man.
First week back, first new year. It's a great time. A great time was had by all.
Yes.
I congratulate the victor of the over and under game today.
And where can people follow you?
You can find me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett or RMB. You can find me on Twitter at Burnett RM, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Work.
And of course, also a shout out to Elizabeth, knowing quality when she sees it. Just want to say shout out to her. Anyway, guys, that'll do. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter, of course, right there at John Campea. And that'll do it for today's shows, guys. Thanks for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, Cock Max.